recording of this. We've got one. All righty. Okay, so we've got the recording going here. Hi, I'm Eric. I will be your guide and your host on this journey through the solstice recalibration. And pretty much what the solstice is this is the day of solar return. This is the shortest day of winter. And when we have the least amount of daylight, and then it starts to grow. This is literally that flux. Like if you know about the quantum pause breathing pattern, like I teach people, what's happening is it's like we're inhaling and then we're pausing. And this is that pause right there. There's a lot of potential inside of that pause. There's a lot of potential for energetic understanding, for moving through these realms. And it's really, really fun. And I can't wait to actually show you guys how to do this right here. So what we're going to do, oh, hold on. It sounds like somebody's not muted. We're going to make sure that we're either muted or the audio isn't on. That way we have just pristine meditations with no noise on the background there. All right, cool. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to walk everybody through the meditation to open up the awareness inside of the body, to get connected into the feeling of the body language. And then we're going to do 3 specific things. First, we're going to open up the ability to feel and detect with the smile tornado, which is pretty much moving the breath through the body and then applying joy, laughter, excitement energy, and then turning up the frequency of light. Once we can do this, this is literally raising the vibration in our bodies, and it'll make things that are not of a high vibration really obvious to feel. Once we get into that point, we're going to actually start going into a cord clearing and a pretty much what a cord clearing is. If you have connections with anybody, family, friends, whatever it might be, these are emotional, energetic connections that are very, very real. It's just that we can't see them. So what ends up happening, say for instance, you have a disagreement with somebody, or you have a little bit of a, you know, like an irritation or an anger that starts to sprout towards this person. What ends up happening is inside of that emotional connection, you have these little pathways that are kind of hard, kind of dense. And so what we're doing is we're tuning into finding how those pathways connect into us and people that we might have issues with, or, you know, just everyday people. And when we start cleaning out these connections right here, it allows us to really reclaim our sovereignty, to push everything that's not us out and to bring us back into the center. And so this is going to be a really fun meditation right there too. And these techniques right here, you don't have to use them just today. These can be used like anytime, anywhere, anywhen. And it's really fun stuff. And we're going to finish it with the galactic solar connection into an attunement. Now, the thing about this work, people think that you have to be able to visualize when you do this work. That's not really true. I actually couldn't see color for about maybe the first 1.5 years I was doing this. And it was all about the feeling. It was all about the movement and the sensation. And so if you can't see, that's perfectly fine. What I want you to do is feel yourself seeing it. And if you can't feel, but you see, that's perfectly fine. I want you to see yourself feeling it as well. And it's all about taking the skills that you have, taking the awareness that you have, and pushing it into a space to where you can do this type of work just because you know where you're going and the intention is there. So it's all about focus, guys. It's all about really taking your focus to the next level. And so when we start snapping into body-brain mentality, when we start bringing the energy of the focused brain into the entire body, sometimes we can snap out of coherence. Sometimes we can fall into blank spaces, feel like we fell asleep, not remember anything for the past 3 or 4 minutes. And that's actually pretty normal. Because what's going on right there, it's the same type of a process. Like if you have a dream that opens you up to just amazing information and you come back and you're just thunderstruck by the awesomeness that you had understood and grasped, what's happening is you opened up into body-brain mentality. Your whole entire nervous system became your awareness. And as you woke up, your speech patterns, the words that get stuck inside of the brain and start to hide all of the body language underneath, those took over. And so all of your focus came back into your brain, and 5 minutes later, you don't remember the dream anymore. So this is that process that we're going to start kicking into. We're going to start opening up and going through, and it's perfectly okay if you don't remember what was going on, because when you do this, this is actually you starting to really move into a different state of being inside of your nervous system. And it means that you're doing good work. And if you don't remember it and you can't bring it back, perfectly okay. That's what these techniques are here for too. You can remember them. And if you need tips or tricks or anything like that, there's plenty of things that I can shoot in your direction to make it aha. So that's what we're going to be going into. And then once we're done, we're going to connect in and we're going to start really feeling the earth inside of the group. We're going to all direct our energy at the earth, and we're going to find ourselves standing around it. When we do this, inside of that quantum pause breath up at the very top, we're going to feel that and that movement to start coming back. And inside of that, that's where we're going to put our intention for that next solar return to the longest day of the year, the summer solstice. And so this is exactly why the pagans actually used to celebrate these holidays. And this is specifically why we don't have any national holidays on these days anymore, because these are days where when we start to apply the gratitude of the previous year, you know, that Thanksgiving type mentality, well, the true Thanksgiving type mentality, not the consumerism turkey type Thanksgiving, but the actual gratitude, and then we project what we want to experience into that solar return. That's where this mastery comes into power. And when you have cleaned yourself out on that level that we're going to do to get to this point, that's where we can start putting in some really, really powerful gratitudes, when we can start remembering the year before and feel our successes, feel our failures, and learn from all of them and apply them into what we're moving forward to in this new year. So what we're going to do once we get to that point, that's when I'm going to have people come on camera and, well, if you feel guided to, and share your successes, share what you want to see in the world. And I'll start it off that way you guys have a really good example. But what this is going to turn into is we want to actually feel what that person is experiencing or what that person wants to experience. And we start connecting in on that level underneath the words. And so the words are going to guide us into a very communal type reset. This is going to be a first of its kind for me. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm really excited to see how this goes. But when we start getting everything really, truly connected in on that level, that is where the mastery comes in. That is where the focus comes in. And it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. We're going to have to work at this. But it's going to be fun work. This is the work that it really gets you motivated to get up in the morning to go and do these types of things. And so I'm really excited to show you guys how to do this. Are you all ready? All righty, let's do this. So first things first, we need to start getting out of the mind into the body. And this is all about recognizing that your brain, this is part of your nervous system, but your heart is actually the first thing that forms inside of the controls of your nervous system. All your neural tissues form inside of the chest. The top becomes the brain, the bottom becomes the intestines. The heart is the transformer, the logical processing from the top and the gut instinct from below. And what we need to do is start bringing our awareness into the physicality. Because what's happening here, it's the same exact thing with the focus of knowing that you have pants on, but now you actually feel them. You have to bring your attention into that area. You have to bring your focus into what you understand is there. Once you do that, you can shift it. And that's the secret for all body language. And so in order to do this, we have to start speaking to the body in a completely different way. Not in the words, but in the sensation. And so what we're going to use is the autonomic nervous system, the system that controls everything that you don't have to focus on, like the breathing, the heartbeat, the digestion, all of these things that go on behind the scenes without your focus. It's connected into an entire automatic system with two modes, fight or flight and rest and relaxation. So what we're going to do is hook into the only aspect of this that we have conscious control over, and that's the breathing. What I want you guys to do is start to practice your belly breathing. Now, what I mean by this, if you haven't been through these tutorials before, let me explain. So, when I inhale, this is my solar plexus, this is my pelvis right here, and this is my back. Watch what happens. Now, what I'm doing here is it's not that there is air going into my belly. I don't have lungs that go down into the abdominal cavity. I have, just like everybody else, a completely and totally separate upper abdominal cavity from upper chest cavity from a lower abdominal cavity. It's the diaphragm in the middle. This is that muscle that when you start hiccuping, it's the one doing this. It's seizing up inside your abdomen right there. And the whole entire rib cage has it covering the entire bottom. And this is what separates everything. And so as we expand out the lungs and we pull the diaphragm down, we relax everything on the front, and it literally pushes all the organs that are in the lower abdomen out the front of the body right here. You put compression into the organs, and then it relaxes. It goes back in. You're squeezing out the old, and you're making room for the new. And so just by putting yourself into a physical pattern of belly breathing and not even doing any of the energy work, you can literally add 10 to 15 years of healthy life to your lifespan, simply because you're keeping your organs in healthy functioning condition. When they start getting blocked up, that's when you start experiencing discomfort. That's when everything starts to be detrimental for the rest of the body. That's when the muscles get tight to quarantine all the poison, and it pulls the bones out of alignment. The nerves get pinched. All the bioelectricity doesn't go to where it needs to. It starts short-circuiting. We have pain. We have dysfunction. We have lack of bioelectric flow inside of the body. And this right here, the hara, the abdomen, is one of the easiest ways to start getting blood moving through the body, to get chi moving through the body. And it's just this physical sensation. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this belly breathing in the quantum pause manner, like I was just talking about. So what I want everybody to do, deep breath in all the way up to the top. And if you feel like you're straining, go right underneath that point of strain where it feels like it's stretching, but it's not uncomfortable. Deep breath in. Hold. Relax. Hold at the bottom of the breath. Deep breath in. Hold. Relax. Hold at the bottom of the breath. Deep breath in. And start going through this pattern. It's very simple, very easy to fall into. But what you're going to notice is this is a mental process right now, meaning you have to remind yourself to breathe. You have to remind yourself to pause. And we're going to sink into this for about 45 seconds, a minute or so together. And then I'm going to walk you through the next level of awareness that's going to turn this deep breathing into an automatic function that's exploring other sensations. And if you feel like you're getting oxygen starved, like there's not enough movement, breathe faster. Inhale and exhale quickly. Find yourself getting on top of that, but make sure that you have the pauses at the top and the bottom of the breath. This interruption throws the nervous system off out of the normal functions, and it forces you out of fight or flight and into rest and relaxation. This is literally walking up to the button and pressing it instead of asking the body. Don't ask. Do. And as you're doing this, notice how the thoughts rise up to the surface. How it's really easy to get distracted. Feel the normal functions of the brain, what you're used to understanding and feeling. This is where the focus is as a default. And all you need to do is consciously move it into a different sensation to start exploring the body language. I like to start with the skin. As you're deep breathing into the body with this gentle quantum pause pattern, feel how the inhalation creates pressure and movement underneath the clothes. How when you exhale, there's a tickling, a gliding sensation as you release and gain more space. Deep, full breaths. And the simple act of taking your focus out of the mind and into the skin starts to make these sensations more intense. And it's not just because you're paying attention to them. Let me explain the mechanics here. Your nervous system operates off of bioelectricity. This is something we can measure. Your focus is the amperage. Just by tuning into it, just by paying attention, it's turning up. Not because the nerves are getting more sensitive, but because there's more energy in the area. Notice how the temperature is a very easy sensation to tune into. Notice how you can feel your own temperature raising a little pocket of air in between you and the colder air around you. Deep, full breaths, dropping the brain out of these alpha and beta states, deeper into the omega, the delta, the theta states that allow us to interact inside of the nervous system, inside of the myofascial layers. Now, when we start doing this, you might find your attention drawn to tight places, to sore places. You might feel things more intensely, and that's okay. Bear with it for just a little bit. We want to be aware of these areas, but we don't want to give them the energy of the focus, like you're doing inside of the skin. We need to build up a resonance outside of the blockage so strong that we can take it into the blockage and it has no choice but to release. What I want you to begin doing is feeling how the muscles underneath the skin are sliding and gliding, shifting and moving. And this is a really easy transition. Inhale into the skin, feeling those sensations becoming more intense. And on the exhale, start dropping that awareness underneath. And feel all that slipping and sliding. It's really easy inside of the chest and the abdomen. Flex your will. Almost like these sensations are connected to a volume dial. Begin to turn it up. Feeling almost immediately how you're creating a sense of movement, tingling, a gentle buzz. Just by turning it up and feeling as hard as you can, you're sparking that bioelectric flow to the point to where the blood actually takes a charge. The iron and the water inside of your blood are electromagnetically conductive. And if you look at every single blood cell, it's like a tiny battery. It's got a concave and a convex side, a positive and a negative side. It can hold a charge. And what you put in there, that depends on what you know how to access. Start using that inhalation to turn this volume dial up louder with each breath. Feel that pause up at the top, how it's starting to soften the lungs and stretch open the lung capacity. Feel that pause at the bottom, showing you movement and flow inside of the body. Feel that inhalation, turning that volume dial up louder, more intense. And we're working on 3 ends of the breath right now, but we haven't used the exhale yet. And the reason that we haven't is because you don't have the awareness needed in order to shift the entire musculature yet. Because again, the first secret of body language, as soon as you have awareness, you have the ability to shift. Let's go a little bit deeper. Start feeling the muscles in between the ribs of the rib cage. How when you inhale, they stretch and expand out. Feel how the shoulder blades are floating across muscles that are on top of the ribs. Feel the collarbones creating structural support coming out from the sternum all the way out to the shoulder sockets. And you can't feel these bones the same way that you feel the muscles, but they're so easy to point to as soon as you feel the muscles pulling, sliding, gliding, shifting. Deep, full breaths, trying to keep that inhalation just as long as that pause at the top of the breath. Trying to keep that exhalation marching in the same exact lockstep time as the exhale, that pause of the breath. Start to notice how when you inhale and you're pausing up at the top, how your neck and your shoulders have lifted up to create more space inside of the lungs. Feel how when you exhale and release, the shoulders drop, the chest relaxes, the abdomen gains space. Now here's how you shift it. Almost like that inhalation is uncovering microscopic Velcro that's glued shut your muscles, that are gluing the cells to each other, that are keeping the bones locked in place. Deep breath in, turn that volume dial up as loud as you can, become as aware as you can, and on the exhale, feel it all beginning to melt. Don't ask to relax the muscles, literally feel the tension. And on the exhale, relax that Velcro, speaking in the language that the muscles understand. They know tension. They know relaxation. Feel the tension and tell it to relax. Don't ask. This isn't words. This is feeling. This is doing. Use that inhalation to turn that volume dial up. And at the top of the breath, feel that Velcro dissolving. For that exhale, feel it drain down. Feel your face and your jaw beginning to melt and unhinge. Feel the neck leaning backwards as it relaxes, and you can find that place of balance. Or you can completely relax the neck and the head won't fall forwards, backwards, left or right. Deep breathe around that posture, inhaling into the chest and the shoulders. Feeling it relax and let go. Now here's where it starts to get fun. We know how to relax on that exhale. We know how to turn up the awareness on the inhale. Now we're going to start switching places and doing both at the same time. On the inhalation, I want you to feel how that awareness pops that Velcro loose. And on the exhale, feel how everything relaxes and gains more awareness inside of that relaxation. Straining to feel, straining to relax. A very odd dichotomy, but relax even harder. It's easily felt. Feel how the solar plexus in the back of the rib cage and the spine starts to melt. How the muscles of the abdomen, the sides of the spine start to relax as the lower back releases down into the hips. I just want you to take your awareness for a quick side note and recognize how this deep belly breathing isn't something that you have to consciously make happen anymore. This is a tool to expose sensation even deeper. You guys have been inside of deep belly breathing for quite a while now. Much easier than if you're consciously trying to make it happen. This is why meditation is supposed to be fun, dynamic, exposing the inner world to the outside understanding. You guys are almost there. We've got to go down to the bone level here before we can start activating the chi. What I want everybody to do is take this skin and muscle awareness deep into the hips and the lower back, and take a deep, slow, probing breath. Pause up at the top, feeling how much movement is created in the lower back. It's nowhere near as much as the front side, but it's very obvious how much it's moving. All the muscles glide and slide, shift and open. The top of the breath, there's even movement in the pelvic floor. And what you're recognizing is how deep the breath can actually take you. And this is just awareness. This is just the body. But the reason that you're doing this is because the body handles hundreds of thousands of sensations per second, but more importantly, translates it, including all the ones that you don't understand you're connected into yet. Just like you can't feel the pants until you bring your attention to them. Just like you can't feel the gravity, even though you know it's there, until it's very obvious that it's pressing you down because you're paying attention. I want you to take the whole entire abdomen from the solar plexus to the pelvic floor and inhale into this, turning that volume dial up, feeling it expand on the front, the sides, the back, the bottom. Exhale and release, feeling the hip sockets open, feeling the thighs let go and relax. Focus. Turn it up. Begin to follow up into the rib cage, feeling everything from the pelvic floor, feeling the tailbone, the hips, the sacrum, and each vertebrae as it creates the structural foundation that all of the muscles hang from as it moves all the way up into the back of the throat. Feel how the rib cage expands and opens. Very dense dichotomies of bone and muscle and skin. Feeling how the structure has no structure without the movement of the muscles. How the muscles have no movement without the structure of the bones. Deep breath in, turning it all the way up, as loud as you can go on each inhalation, even if it's just a tiny little bit more. Stretch your awareness, stretch your focus. Make the connections into these patterns. That way, the next time you do it, it's faster, it's easier, it's stronger. Beautiful. All we need to do now is start bringing awareness into the body, and I find that the breath is the easiest way to create movement. Take that skin, muscle, bone awareness and bring it right to the tip of the nose, and begin to inhale, feeling how that cooling rush moves the nostrils and the nose hairs, how it flows up into the sinuses. Feel how much warmer and wetter it is on that flow out. And follow it even deeper on the next breath, feeling that cooling rush into the sinuses and the back of the throat. Exhaling and feeling it warm, feeling it relax. Deeper, feeling that windpipe starting to wake up to sensation. Feeling that flow as the lungs begin to wake up. Recognizing you can literally point to the spot right where the lungs split into either side of the chest. And begin following the breath deep into the lungs, all the way into the solar plexus level, right at the bottoms. Turn this up. Demand awareness. Demand sensation. Feel this just as strongly in the bottoms of the lungs as you do at the tip of the nose. And start to expand out of the lungs with this awareness, feeling the bones of the rib cage expanding around the lungs, protecting like a bellows, a hard cage softening underneath for the softness of the lungs and the heart and the thymus. Feel how the muscles pull, separate, open, connect. Deep breaths in, feeling that breath awareness expanding all the way out to the skin. Feeling the center with that movement of the wind. Feeling the skin shifting underneath the clothes with complete awareness of everything in between. And by now you should be feeling a very decent buzz inside of the body. And if you don't, that's perfectly okay. It means that you haven't built up enough resonance yet. But you should with these next levels of awareness. What I want you to begin doing is start right here at the tip of the nose and start following the breath into the body just as intently as you were. But the difference is that your lungs don't exist inside of the chest. Your entire body is a lung now. And what we're going to do is inhale and feel this flow going all the way down into the feet. Take a deep breath, feeling that movement through the face and the sinuses, down through the throat and the chest. And almost like we're pulling that current, that flow, that movement. Use that inhale to flush down through the organs, the bones, the muscles, the skin, softening the thighs, down through the knees and all the way into the feet. Just like when you were using your volume dial to turn up sensation, recognize it's just flexing your will. You can do it anywhere. Like with this movement. Flex your will. Hook into that sensation, turn it up, and move more. Beginning to feel that movement just as intensely down in the tips of the toes as you do right at the nose. Just like we did inside of the muscles. Start using that exhale to relax and drain out that Velcro out of the body. The major difference being that you're connected into everything. The bones, the muscles, the skin, the organs, the meridian flows, the energy centers, the whole entire lymphatic and limbic systems, the neurological processes. Inhale deep into the feet. Exhale and relax, feeling everything drain into the gravity of the earth below you. Now this gravity, this is a sensation, and you can turn up any sensation. Use the exhale to turn that gravity up and feel it actively starting to suck heaviness out of you. Feeling tension pulling out of the root, out of the legs, out of the feet. Deep breath in, inhaling into the feet. Exhaling and relaxing, letting it go, dropping the weight. Start finding that relaxation. How you can strain to relax, and as it lets go, there's a whole entire level of strength and movement that starts to open up. Blood is synonymous with chi. Chi is synonymous with blood. If your muscles are tight, if they're not letting blood flow through, you have poor chi flow. And what you're doing right now is you're speaking to those entire fascial layers and you're telling them to let go. And notice how it's lubricating the joints. Notice how the pain is beginning to release, the tension is softening. And this is just the body level right here. We still have the mind and the spirit to access. Deep breaths in, feeling how you can start moving the sensation even stronger, more intensely. How you can exhale and release deeper levels of tension into the gravity of the earth, feeling them drop into the fires, Pachamama. And if you can, you might not be able to tune into this awareness yet, but if you can, begin inhaling and feeling the gravity of the sun pulling from the top up. This will make more sense once we go deeper into this meditation. But if you can, use that exhale to feel yourself being pulled up and down. Anything heavy, anything tense, anything tight. Deep breaths. Opening it up. Now I want you to see how much you have opened and how much is still blocked. We haven't gone into the arms yet. Watch this. Take a deep breath into the fingers. Inhaling through the nose, flushing down through the shoulder sockets all the way into the hands. And watch how it doesn't unflow. It doesn't flow like the legs now. but it's a sensation that you're familiar with. You can understand it. Turn the volume dial up where it is moving. Exhale and release the blockage. Inhale even deeper. Feeling this rushing into the hands, starting to create tingling sensations in the chest, down the shoulders, into the arms. Start to release the tension in the wrists, the forearms, and the elbows, feeling how the shoulders are being held up. Very obvious now, starting to relax and drop everything intense inside of the chest. Very good. I'm going to open up a field into the earth underneath everybody and turn up that gravity, making it easier for everyone to connect in. I'm going to do the same for the sun up above. Two really bright connections that are creating a much stronger, much brighter environment. There you guys go. Beautiful. Looks like we've got a little bit of a parasite that's not happy with me right now. Let me grab this thing. It just tried to take a bite. There we go. Now this is very clean body understanding. This is a much deeper level than you can normally go inside of the brain. This is feeling hundreds, if not thousands, of sensations at one time, but you understand it because instead of your focus being stuck inside the brain, it's expanded into the entire body. And what we're going to do before we go into the next little bit is I want you to start really bringing yourself back into the shallow breathing patterns and just turn your focus into the body. Move your shoulders around, move the neck around, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and just notice the way that the body feels right now. Come back into that conscious focus. The more we come in from these deep levels into this full consciousness, but we still have that connection, the faster we can start making those transitions, full body brain mentality, and then be able to translate it. And this is actually one of the reasons why my work is powerful in the way that I do. It's because I feel the energies, I connect into them, but I can consciously explore them and tell them and talk about them. I can translate them. And so that's what you guys are trying to figure out how to do right now. It's not just there's sensation inside of my body. These are the very basic understandings that you can start going deeper into. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to start actually hacking the body to create very bright and strong emotional resonances inside of the body. Now, the way that we do this, when I first heard of power poses, it all aha'd for me in that moment. Now, a power pose is a way that you stand, and you would never stand that way unless you felt extremely confident. My favorite's the Wonder Woman position. Hold hands on hips, shoulders thrown back, head up straight, feet spread wide. You stand like this for 5 minutes, you're going to feel like you're the most confident, amazing person in the world. And the reason for this is that if you don't feel that way, the body recognizes you would never stand like that unless you were supposed to feel that way. So it starts to fill that vacuum. It starts to open up that resonance of feeling confident, of feeling powerful. And so what we're going to do is the exact same thing with a smile energetically. So what I want you guys to do is put a gentle smile on the face. And as you begin inhaling into the body, what I want you to do is pull it all the way into the feet and all the way into the hands, using all 4 of the limbs as a flow. And I want you to recognize, you can feel that sensation and that movement, but as we put the smile on the face and we pull that smile into the body, there's a little bit extra. There's a sensation that's different than that movement, that tingling rush, that flow. Turn it up. Tune into it. Bring your focus to it. Take that bioelectric laser and give it energy and turn the smile up. It feels almost like a tingling sensation, a softness, a tenderness, maybe like a little flutter. Turn this up until you start to move the smile through the entire body, feeling how it's not a fake smile anymore. It almost immediately becomes real. Turn this up. Feel that fluttering sensation starting to get louder, more intense, that tenderness starting to create a buzz, a resonance. And turn it up so loud that you start to spark laughter inside of it. Literally inhaling through the filter of this smile and creating clouds of movement that are laughing with echoes of joy and excitement through the wind in the body. Now turn this up. And if you start noticing that your emotional energies are coming up to the surface, if you're feeling sad or angry, this is perfectly okay. This is an energetic release, an emotional release. And this is exactly what we want to be doing. Deep breathe that smile into the body, feeling it moving all the way through. Exhaling and relaxing any tension, any blockage that you feel, draining it into the gravity. Very good. Now what we're going to do is actually activate an energy center with this energy. And this is exactly what I was talking about. We don't want to give the focus to what's blocked, to what's not working. We want to create a space inside of us that's so open, so full of energy, so full of light and movement and laughter and high vibratory emotions that when we bring this into any blockage, it's like turning on a light switch. It has no choice but to go. And I always like to use the lower abdomen, the lower dantian. I only use 3 energy centers: my brain, my heart, my intestines. In the intestinal lower dantian, it's about 2 to 3 inches below the belly button, and it's the womb space or the sacral chakra. What I want you all to begin doing is inhale into this point, almost like you're creating a ball of liquid that you're moving in there. And on the exhale, what you're going to do with it is blossom it open like a flower. Inhaling that energy, that laughter into this point, and on the exhale, feeling that blossoming sensation like you're blooming a rose, a laughing rose. Feel it start to relax the blood flow. Feel how the inhalation can move a little bit more sensation into the area. Blossom it open even bigger. There it is. The reason that I use this one, this is connected almost directly into the physicality. You can use this energy center in martial arts. You can use this in manifestation. There's all kinds of different things you can use this energy center for. But most importantly, this body language. The intestines deal with grief. This is where trauma gets locked into the body. And your psoas muscles are right behind it, right next to the adrenals and the kidneys, which deal with fear. And as you're inhaling this laughter in here, you're creating a little pocket inside of this stuck energy. It's full of purity. It's full of movement. Start blossoming open this rose, stronger and even more intense. Feeling it grow. Almost like you're inhaling into a balloon and it's stretching just a little bit bigger. Then you're exhaling and blossoming it open. Recognizing this blossom sensation can be inside of a cell or the entire body. It's all body language. Start opening up this blossoming sensation until you're opening everything from the pelvic floor up to the solar plexus. Deep breaths in. Now here's where you're going to want to start using these sensations to detect. What I want you to do is on the exhale, I want you to turn this laughter up so loud that it echoes all the way through the bones and the skin, everywhere inside of the abdomen and the pelvis. And pay attention for what starts to get hard, what starts to get tense or angry or serious. Pulls back and it doesn't laugh. It doesn't move. And as good as you were feeling before with that breath, with that flow, you're recognizing now there's a whole completely different level of blockage that's relaxing underneath that. What we need to do is learn how to say and feel, I know what is blocked. I know what's stuck. And you might not have the awareness to take yourself into that blockage and place your hands on it almost like a blind person trying to feel what it is. And that's how you start evoking, what is that? And you start seeing the traumas inside, the emotions inside. You might not be able to do that yet, but this is the first step. Feeling where it's stuck, where it's not moving, where it's resisting the laughter. Now these techniques right here, these are not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You just have to be consistent. Some things might take 4 or 5 days to unlock, but the process is always the same. What I want you to do is tune into the place that's blocking the most right now. It might not even be in the abdomen. You might feel this in the head or the chest or even in an arm or a leg right now. Wherever that might be, the one that is popping out more than anything, that's your highest priority. That's the loudest one, the squeaky wheel. And be aware of it. Don't focus on it. Recognize it's there. And what we're going to do is concentrate on a completely different level. Tune into a bathtub when you pull the plug, that swirling liquid movement. What I want you to do is you inhale through the filter of this smile and spark that laughter. Immediately swirl the breath like a tornado. Find your tornado going deeper into the body, a swirling mass of blood flow, laughter, and tingling sensations. And put that sharp end right on top of that hard space. And inhale and press in, spin it almost like you're drilling, and put that laughter right at the tip, trying to force that laughter into this hardness. And on the exhale, force that hardness to blossom open like you're becoming aware of a piece of steel and you're turning it into a steel rose. And blossom it open and allowing you to go even deeper. To exhale and release even more. Really start feeling the gravity here. It's almost like sand that you're draining out of the body, or this liquid or this metal is becoming like a heavy liquid that's draining out. Inhale in even deeper. Exhale and release. And rinse and repeat this process until you feel it let go. Until you've brought so much of what you want to feel inside of the body that these traumas from the past, no matter what they might be, have no choice but to release. And now let's start tuning into direct trauma. That way you all know how to clean this out, how to tune into it. What I want you to think about is some time where somebody hurt you. Whether emotionally, physically, environmentally, psychologically, sexually. And if that's not popping up, think about a time that you got hurt, an accident, a fall, a break. Whatever's popping up, tune into it. And almost like you're inside of a movie, feel yourself experiencing this trauma. Slow it down. Feel it in great detail. And when we're talking about big traumas, this isn't an easy process right here, so please be gentle with yourself. But start to feel where the emotions come up. What are the emotions? Anger, guilt, shame, avoidance, sadness. Whatever it might be, feel how it comes up. And now here's how we detect. Don't let the emotion get in the way. Pay attention to where you feel it responding in your body. What is getting sore? What is getting tight? What is hurting? These emotions always have a telltale physical response. Like anger, it's a burning ball inside the abdomen, lower chest. Sadness and grief, it's like this cloying thickness, a wounded heaviness inside of the chest, inside of the throat. Fear, it's like an icy slap that runs up the back, starting inside of the adrenals in the lower back. Very physical sensations that you can tune into. Now recognize as you're doing this, that these are stuck inside of you. If you can tune into something that happened years ago and it brings an emotional response like it just happened a few days ago, this is a frozen bit of time stuck inside of your reality, inside of your fascia. Deep breath around and into that area, pulling that smile tornado deep inside of it. And we're going to hold on to two awarenesses at the same time, the movie of this trauma and that feeling inside of you. Begin inhaling into that feeling, feeling the energy moving through the movie itself. Start turning up this laughter inside of the movie. Feel this innocence, this laughter, this joy and excitement starting to echo on the outer edges and dissolve it deeper as you're inhaling into the physical spot inside of you where this lies, where this responds. And pull that laughter even deeper, blossoming it open and starting to feel this movie dissolving as it loses focus and the outer edges start blowing away like dust in the wind. And here's where we're going to turn on the light, the mind energy. Inhale into this, using that laughter and that movement as fuel to blossom open a sun inside of that pain, inside of that damage. And start to feel those fires blow away this movie as it dissolves into golden sparkles. Deep breaths. Don't get in the way of the emotional release. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to jump up and down, pulling out your hair, do that too. Try not to hurt yourself though. Deep breaths. Finding how as we release these places, that there's an emptiness, almost a hollowness, like there was something taking up space where there wasn't supposed to be space. And direct your attention into this. Start inhaling it full of light, laughter, and movement, almost like you're filling up a container. Put what you want into the body. Not what's there, not what's programmed, not what's genetically traumatized, but what you want to experience. Let's take a series of 4 or 5 more breaths. The strongest ones we've done yet, feeling the gravity pulling down even harder. Feeling the sun pulling up even harder. Feeling that blossoming release of the Velcro, letting go even more tension, more weight. Last breath, make this your strongest one yet. Inhaling right into the abdomen, exhaling and blossoming open the entire body, feeling light shooting out the hands, the feet, and the head. Ever so gently start to rub the hands together. Faster and harder, creating more friction, more heat. There it is. Once it starts to get really hot, gently place the palms over top of the eyes and take a deep breath like your eyes are your nose, right up into the brain, pulling the heat through the eyeballs. Exhale, rub the face. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, blink the eyes, and come on back. Really just pay attention how the body feels right now. Now, let's go ahead and bring some people on. If you want to talk about what you're feeling right now, go ahead and unmute yourself. How do you feel right now? What's going on?
I'm wild and happy. I feel great.
Now, do you see right now how it's almost like you're sitting inside of a cloud? It's like a buzz around you, isn't it? And you don't stop at the skin anymore. You're expanded past the skin. You're the cloud that inhabits the body. You are not the body, are you? That right there, this feeling, this is where we can start building onto multidimensional connection. Go ahead and everybody else do this as well. But what I want you to do is go ahead and inhale into your heart space there, Douglas, right inside of the chest. And take a deep breath full of laughter and light. And on the exhale, I want you to feel this light around you get brighter, stronger. Now, how does that feel there, Douglas?
A little tight.
Where is it tight? Inside of the chest? Okay. So I actually, you're popping up with this stretch right here. This is something physical that you can do. Everybody go ahead and kind of practice this one too. But what you're going to want to do is take your fingers and interlace them, but you're going to do it behind your back. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll the shoulders up, behind, and you're going to press the arms down below the tailbone. And what this is going to do is open up the chest on the front side. Now what I want you to do, watch my chin. I'm going to jut it forward like that. And then you're going to point your chin up towards the ceiling. And once it's up here, you're going to gently rock back and forth, left to right, like you're trying to touch the ear to the shoulder. This is a really easy stretch to open up the front of the body. And more often than not, you'll find that the front of the neck and the shoulders and the chest are actually pulling everything forward. And everything on the backside has to fight to expand backwards this way. And this is why we feel everything tight back here. And more importantly, why we have this posture right here. And so if you're stretching the front, if you're getting this to let go, all of this comes down behind the collarbones and hooks actually into the rib cage itself. Now, how's that feel there, Douglas?
Much better. I've got this posture.
Yep. And it's not that you have that posture. It's not that you're losing your height. It's not that your bones are deforming. It's literally the muscles are pulling you forward. And what's happening is as you get pulled forward like that, the bones are forced to curve into that position. But if they've curved into that position, that means that they can curve backwards out of that position. And especially if you inhale into the bones, into the posture, and then on the exhale, go into that stretch, it will give the body language needed for your body to start recurving that, getting that posture into alignment. And so right now, you already have more lung capacity. Watch, take a deep breath in. See, that's like twice as much lung capacity as you're used to, isn't it?
Yes.
All you have to do is just pay attention to the body. This is where my work differs from most people's, because there's so many beautiful practitioners on the mind and the spirit level, but you know, you'll get done and you'll just feel so phenomenally euphoric and amazing, but your body will still hurt, you know? And this is where we have to make those connections. If your body doesn't want to let go through the energy, you got to get it to let go physically.
So through every, as we're doing this, we still pause or don't pause?
If you feel like doing it, the pause was to get you into the brain patterning to begin with. Did you notice how you kind of phased that out? The pause stopped being part of it. That was the natural process of the body language right there. So when we first did the pause, did you notice how you came into a very clear and powerful state of mind almost immediately? That was the whole purpose of that. That was to drop us out of that first alpha and beta states deeper into the omega, delta, and theta states. And that's where we can interact with the body a lot more coherently.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, anybody else want to talk?
Hi, Eric.
Hi. Hi, Teresa.
Oh, hi.
How are you feeling?
Good. Well, before I started, I had a really, really bad headache that I've been getting these last few days. And just, I don't know, you were just talking, we got into the breathing, and it's completely gone.
So what happens with a lot of this is people are really, you know, the neck right here, all these things right here are actually one of the biggest causes of headaches more than anything, because what happens is these muscles all connect right back here at the mastoid process, and the jaw and the TMJ, all these things are connected into it. So when these are tight, it causes us to clench everything right here, and these all hook into the vertebrae on the back side, and they pull everything forward, and it pinches your brainstem. And when you have a pinched brainstem, you're having a bioelectric feedback flow. It's supposed to be coming out, but it just keeps on shocking inside of the brain. And so just getting the front of the jaw and the neck to let go, that's really more than enough to get that to start releasing. But funnily enough, it's when we have feelings of anxiety, feelings of like almost like borderline panic, where that fear is starting to really creep into things. It gets everything super tight, and that's what causes us to pull down. And so as soon as we start dropping out of those, we release that tension, we release that anxiety, and the muscles have no reason to keep pulling anymore. So, you know, it's all about the body, mind, spirit. We have to know how this connects in, and we have to really utilize it, you know. And if you can't get the energy work to get something to let go, then you have to go in another direction.
Well, it's interesting. I haven't really been experiencing the anxiety, but I know that I've been going through a lot of changes. So maybe my body took it as anxiety and started getting the headaches.
So, and the other thing that's happening right now is more and more people who do this work, the stronger the levels of resonance starts popping up on the planet, and the deeper we can actually take the entire collective consciousness into a stronger level of understanding. It's like everybody's starting to feel the body language underneath the surface, and it's like we're all rising up. The heavy things can't move, and so as we're rising up, they're dragging us down and they become more obvious. And so you might be tuning into that as well. This might be a genetic and a planetary thing too. So
wow, maybe. Thank you.
So CJ says, I'd share if I had a microphone and a webcam. Phenomenal meditation. Released a lot I wasn't even aware was still bothering me. And that's the best part about this, CJ, is when you start bringing your awareness in on this level, it literally starts to turn up that volume dial to where you recognize that there are things that I thought felt good right there. And then you go into it and you just kind of take a deep breath and lay your hands on top of it. Like, what is this? And it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh man, remember that time that kid took my lunch money and I was bent out of shape out of it for like a month? Like, that's still stuck there. What? You know? And so you can start going deeper and deeper and deeper. I actually had a really funny story about this. So I've had a really rough life. I haven't had, anywhere near as rough of a life as some people have lived, but there's definitely a vast majority who hasn't seen any of the craziness that I have. And I thought most of my issues were due to that. And so as I was going on this pathway, it was really funny because I cleaned out all the big stuff, like the sexual trauma, the predatory nature, like me trying to be as lethal as possible, you know, and it came back to like still having these issues, like the inability to connect, the inability to feel joy. And it was really funny because it all came back down to when I was 12 or 13 years old, my first little girlfriend at the time, she gave my best friend a little peck on the cheek. It was a little tiny kiss. And I mean, from an adult perspective, it is so innocent, it's harmless, but it broke me. It completely and totally wrecked me from that perspective. You know, my girlfriend cheated on me. All these mistrust and fear and, you know, abandonment issues came up, and it interacted with my body and the way that I interacted with women and myself for the next 15 years or so. And as soon as I cleaned that out, it was like, holy crap, you know, like it doesn't matter how big the trauma is from perspective on the outside. It's how big the trauma is when you feel it on the inside. And, you know, that little innocent thing that right now I still think it's funny. I was laughing when I recognized this. That little boy that happened to, that was rough. That was really rough. And so I went in and I cleaned that out. And it's like all of a sudden these things start popping out and you have pretty much a roadmap. They start popping out. You have the highest priority, the thing that's causing the most problems. And as soon as you take care of that, the next one pops up. It's like, oh, my turn, my turn, my turn, my turn. And it turns into this process of where you're just being aware and you're recognizing what's happening inside of the body and you're releasing it and letting it go as it comes up. So, CJ says, the smile tornado is an amazing drill into those heavy parts on the right side of my body that the parasite likes to play on. He's been helping me find a lot of my weaknesses lately. Nailed it, man. The implants, the entities, these are not the cause of the craziness on the planet. They are literally just searching for food, and that food is what you're cleaning out right then and there. And if we pay attention to what they're doing, if we're recognizing what they're trying to shut down, what they're trying to make more of, then we can do the exact opposite. We can literally use them to reverse engineer and hack the body. That, this is exactly what I've done. I look at what they're trying to do. I say, that's not allowed anymore. Let's open up what they're trying to shut down. Let's make it bright where they're trying to make it dark. And things turn on. New abilities turn on, new awarenesses turn on. And it's just a nonstop process, and I've been doing this roughly for about 7 years now, and I'm still finding stuff that I have to work on. And it's all about recognizing that we have genetic traumas and unprocessed emotions that come down through our whole entire genetic line, as well as shockwaves on the environmental, sociological, and political level that keep on re-traumatizing humanity. And so what we're doing is we're literally feeling all of these programs, and we're not doing that. We're breaking the cycle. We're saying this is done, and I'm not doing this anymore. And what that does is it opens up that space of light inside the planet. We've all heard of the event. We've all heard of the galactic ascension, solar flash, whatever you want to call it, the rapture, whatever that might be. The golden age of Gaia is not something that is happening to us. We are actively doing this. We are actively creating it. And it's like if we have two highly electrolyzed pieces of metal, the closer they get together, the more the ion bridge makes that connection until all of a sudden there's enough for that electricity to make that jump. And that's what we're doing. This is a very dense, heavy environmental planet to where the quarantine around it is not even like an actual fence that people can't go through. It's density. They're so high vibration that they have to lower themselves extremely low in order to even communicate with us. And so the only way that we could actually come in and save this planet was to incarnate in, connected directly to source, to feel these feelings, to feel these systems, and recognize how far out it is. And since we are a part of the system, we have the trauma, we have the damage. When we start to clean it out, when we start to shift, the whole entire system shifts with us. And we start creating resonances of light that get stronger and stronger and stronger until it can reach to everybody who's reaching down. We have to jump and reach up, and that's what we're doing right now. And it's just so beautiful to watch, because when we do this on the individual level, there are so many people that think, feel, talk, and act like we do. They act on the same resonances of our personality. And it's like little collectives within inside of the collective consciousness. And usually inside of these little collectives, it's a very specific type of a trauma. This collective right here, they have a lot of, warfare in their genetic history. And so they're drawn into those warfare traumas. This is where we have our wounded soldiers who are supposed to be our healers. If you have people who have a lot of sexual dysfunction inside of their genetic history, they start creating those situations for themselves inside of their life. And so you will experience it, you will feel it, and you will recognize how much you don't enjoy it, but it's all something you were just passed down. And as we release these, as we clean these out, it shockwaves out through the entire genetics throughout history, and it's literally creating a pocket inside of this null space that the light forces then can interact with. And this is why things are moving so much faster right now. It's us. It's literally us getting rid of all the trauma, and that raises our vibration back into our natural state. Ta-da!
Eric, can I share?
Yes.
So first, just the way I felt afterwards, and even right now, just a feeling of like, that my body feels happy. I mean, I know you said that we're like feeling like a cloud that's not our body, but so often I'm so in my head worrying about how to make money, and market and on the computer, and my body feels totally abandoned. It's like, would you just take a breath and just go sit still for
It's
God?
those shallow automatic patterns. They clench everything up. And so, it's when we start getting out of the shallow pattern, we start stretching it. We start literally shifting the resonance. It has no choice.
And it feels good. And I'm working through, it feels like
You're
all
welcome, Tim.
major separation consciousness traumas. It feels like it's kind of like the grand finale, in the fireworks show when all the big ones start going off.
Honestly, I think it's just getting started. Like, we still have so many things to unwind. We have, when we look at like these death cults that are around, we have militant white supremacists, we have
the satanic
radical Islamist jihadists, we have the satanic Luciferians. There's a lot that we have to deal with, but it's just like inside of the body. We can't focus on these things. We have to be aware of them, recognize them. We have to start creating such a bright level of light and movement inside of us, inside of the reality around us, that then we can take it into those places. And so we can't fight these things by, it's warfare against warfare. This isn't going to work. We have to go directly to the human that's underneath the program. And that's how we have to start shifting this. And it's the exact same process. Once you learn
I want to share one thing.
Hold on real quick. So once you do that inside of the body, it is literally an as above, so below thing. Once you recognize how to do this inside of the body, we have the blueprint to go into the physical world and do the exact same thing. And that's what we're building up to. All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Nice. No problem. So I feel like it's kind of like this grand finale. I know you said we're just getting started, but like, I swear since September, I've had to relive my lifetime where my heart was, cut out of my chest as an Aztec. Then I've had to go through being buried alive in Egypt, as a slave with my master in a tomb. It's in my body. It's in my body. So blocking my breath.
So why don't you get rid of it?
I am. But it's layers and layers when you're buried alive and left to die, or you're dead.
We are actually about to go through a meditation where we're cutting off the cords and the connections to stuff like this. So there's actually something that we're specifically about to do that will help you out with that. So what I was going to do is I was actually going to lead us on the physical level with people, places, things, and events. But I think we're going to make a caveat for past, present, and future lives as well, too.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right. So I've got a comment from Don here. Eric, on the pause on the out breath, my body builds up serious terror. I have worked on this for more than a year, but have not been able to make any headway. Again, it's the pause on the out breath that created terror in my body. I cannot locate its origin, but it comes from the general center of my body around the stomach area. Must be a subtle body or a part of me that has been shattered out. Okay, so this is actually a really good question here. So what happens on the out breath right there is there's programs that are keeping you stuck inside of fight or flight, that are keeping everything moving on a level that it's sparking that adrenaline response. So this is definitely a physical program inside of the body. What I want you to do is take a deep breath into the kidneys. These are right here. Here's the bottom of my rib cage. The kidneys are right here in that area. They're a little bit smaller than your fist. What I want you to do is take a deep breath into the front of the kidneys. And on the exhale, I want you to try to trigger that fear response. But as you're doing it, when it triggers, it's almost like there's something rising up. I want you to pop a hole in it and start draining it out. Let's see what happens there. See, it's almost like you have a blockage in the lumbar region that is causing those nerves to get shut down. I'm going to go ahead and just place my hand right on the back of the spine here. I'm going to start moving this bioelectricity through the nervous system, opening up the discs.
Oh, that's nice. The breast just went into a new place I've never been able to move it into.
So what's happening here is it's the psoas muscles. If you were to point directly to the front of the spine, straight in from this direction right here, it's right next to the belly button on either side. The right side in specific is where there's a big knot of muscle. It's like really locked up right there. What I want you to do is inhale into that locked up point and blow it up like a balloon. And on the exhale, dissolve it out, release it. There it is. That's starting to open up that disc in between L3 and L4 there. Let me get that left side, softening that tendon. There we go. It's like your tailbone's pointing straight down now. How does that feel, Don?
Good. I can start to feel sensation in places I haven't been able to feel anything.
That was definitely an interesting one right there.
Thank you.
Programs, man. Like it's really interesting when you start getting into these breathing patterns. You're triggering inside of the autonomic nervous system itself, and it's really kind of funny to recognize what the actual physical triggers are. And when they are physical like that, that's when we have to go in and actually feel the muscles, feel the bones around the area. And it's still, there's a little bit blocked on that left side to that left kidney that I'm getting to open. There it goes. Good stuff. All right, is there anybody else who wanted to say anything before we start heading into the next level? I have a lot of fear in my kidneys as well. April. Hi, April.
How are you?
Hi. So the same April, right? You have a lot of fear in your kidneys as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that help for you? What did that feel like when we were doing that?
I still feel like there's some there. I think it's something that I've probably been carrying through a lot of lifetimes, but it's very intense. And
So
I've been working on it for
you're
a while.
definitely right. I feel the same type of an echo coming from you that I feel coming from Sarah. There's definitely something that is echoing down through the. It's not genetic. It's not genealogical. It is definitely past life connection, and it's really interesting. Both of you guys have almost like an Aztec type of a flavor to it that's standing out more than anything. No, yours is
Yeah,
more
I
Mayan.
think it's from Egypt.
It's definitely pyramidal. It's a step pyramid though. If it's Egypt, it's really old Egypt.
Yes, I heard that. I found out from someone that I used to work for a pharaoh doing gold leaf, putting gold leaf on his vase, and apparently one of my relatives stole one of them without my knowing. And this particular pharaoh locked my family, except for my sister who ran off, locked all of my family, buried us in this tomb. And that's been something that's been resonating with me ever since that time.
That's actually a
And
really
also,
good pathway. Just
it's a
like with you,
curse.
well, yeah, just like with you and Sarah, you guys have a really good pathway to go in and actually tune into the resonance of what's happening right there. Make sure that you hold on to this when we start talking about it in the next meditation, because I think there's actually a few more people who have similar things like this. I'm seeing a few things popping up. There is, in specific, I don't know who this is coming from, but I'm seeing almost like a Meiji area in Japan. It's like the fall of the samurai, back when the Western culture started taking over and people started using guns over there. There is a very brutal lifetime that I'm seeing popping up. Huh. I don't know who that's from, but that one definitely
Yeah,
needs
that's
to.
probably me.
I don't think that's you. That doesn't feel like you. Like it feels like somebody else is popping up right
Really?
here. Here, hold on. Let me go explore this real quick. There's definitely something that is trying to rage out through the end of this. It's almost like I'm feeling an entity that's connected into a past, future, present life connection. And yeah, no, this is attacking me. I've got to get this thing. Hold on, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
So let me just kind of walk you guys through the process, what I'm going to do here. So I can't see these things until I expand into the universal level. And so I'm growing my body right now to encompass the solar system, and I'm electrifying the sun so I can feel the connections all the way up to the galactic central core. I'm magnetizing it now. I'm pulling myself into the galactic core. Let me see if I can see it. Nope, got to go bigger. All right, so I'm expanding my awareness out through the galaxy, out to the void space in between us and the galaxies next to us, sparking the galactic core, hooking into the cores of the galaxies around us, growing the perspective down until the galaxies are molecules. There we go, stepping into the universal body, finding the heart space. There we go. See, this is actually really interesting. There are 3 people in specific who share this past life. That is really, really funny that it, synchronistically happened today. All right,
Wow.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and start cleaning this out. So it's not really like a very descriptive life. Like there's just a lot of fear, there's a lot of terror, and it was a forced conscription, meaning he got ripped away from his family and he was forced to fight, and he died on the battlefield. And it was really not a pleasant thing that was going on. He saw a lot of really messed up stuff, and there were shockwaves coming through these atrocities that echo into other people's genetics that aren't connected into this. There we go. I'm starting to get this to open up. I'm going to start cleaning out the past, future, present life connections. There we go. Now, who felt that?
I did.
So we've got Douglas, we've got Sarah.
Me? Yeah, definitely.
So that was actually quite a few people who were connected into that. So what I'm feeling now is almost the echoes of that genetic trauma that came from the atrocities that were outside of this lifetime. It's like we just cleaned out a lot of those too. This was a pretty significant lifetime. Huh. Oh, wow. Tim, you felt it too, huh?
Well, yeah. One last thing though, Eric. I'm I'm wearing a tektite, and I'm not sure if this particular tektite is something that I should be wearing. Initially, it was pretty cool. Now I just don't know.
So bioplasmic energy, whenever it's stagnant, it can find repositories or places where it hangs out. And so when you have something like a crystal that you're drawn to, make sure you just clean it out regularly. You know, maybe on the weekend or something like that, put it out in the sun, charge it up, and then inhale into your hands while it's inside of your hands, and create laughter and light in between your hands, and feel it start to get bright inside of the crystal itself. Tektites, I absolutely love them. My favorites are Libyan desert glass and moldavite. And those two right there, they're hands down some of the most powerful stones I've ever come into contact with. But I have a relationship with them. I charge them up, they use up their charge, and then they need more. And if they don't have enough of a charge to keep themselves kind of resonant, like a free energy generator or a little star that you're carrying around that, you know, shines light everywhere, they start to take on bioplasmic energy that's more dense. And so if you feel like your thing is not as clean it out. You know, you have control over all of it.
I've been doing that, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't take too much of your time.
No worries, no worries. No, we're getting here into the meditation real quick. We've got a lot of people, so I mean, you know, we kind of have to go fast, but at the same time, we got to cover the things as they come up. You know, like this is the way these energies work. So it's really interesting the way that goes. Looks like CJ had some connection there as well. Yeah, that was a really interesting removal that I did, as I felt the lifetime starting to release the weight and then more light coming in through. There were other lifetimes that are much more higher vibration that started pushing light through as well. And what ended up happening was those genetic traumas of these atrocities that this guy had to do and that he saw, those echoed through other people's DNA as well. And those were the ones that started echoing through. And like when you start looking at humanity, I mean, it's just this one giant interconnected soup. Like, I mean, 3 of you in specific lived that life, you know? So it's really interesting when we start going in on these levels. But all right, so we need to start getting into the cord clearing so that we can start moving into the next level here. But before we start heading through, is there anything anybody wanted to jump out and say real quick before we start going in? Alrighty, so what I want everybody to do, let's go ahead and start going back into the breathing here. Go ahead and close your eyes, go ahead and start finding that inhalation, exhalation pattern, and really start opening up the feeling inside of the body, opening up that light, that movement, that laughter. And this time we're gonna use the heart space instead of the lower abdomen. Let's start really lighting this up, creating that field of energy around the body. And I like to really make that blossoming sensation. It's like a toroidal field. It's a smaller toroid. And so a toroidal field, it comes from the very center. It's like the little tube that goes up and then it spreads all the way down and around and then comes back up the center and all the way back down and around. You can do this with your entire body. I inhale into my heart space, and on the exhale, I'll float out the top of my head and a big bubble around me. And then I'll inhale back up through the center into the heart space, and bring a big bubble all the way around me. And as you feel this movement, start off with just the movement. And once it feels strong on the movement level, start to turn that laughter up, feeling that smile start coming in. Oh, who's that? Oh, hi there, Sarah. So whatever just released from that Mayan or Aztec connection, as we were doing that, I'm actually seeing Sarah really bright right now, but you're moved backwards from where you're supposed to be. I'm just going to gently press you in. There it is. There we go. We have a really interesting group today. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so as you're making this aura around you, as you're filling all of this up, start really opening up the laughter, turning on the light, using this toroidal field, this blossoming sensation to start moving and cleaning out the environment around you, the surrounding 5 or 6 feet, and put yourself inside of a really clean bubble of light. Now, as we do this, we're going to tune into people, places, and things to begin with. We're going to go deeper into past, future, present life connections afterwards. But right now, everybody you know has a connection to you. Excuse me. family, loved ones, friends, bosses, landlords, people at the bank, people at the grocery store, all of these people that you know that you're familiar with, there are always connections. Now, the connections vary upon the level of connection we have with the person. We have really deep connections with our family, with our significant others, with our children. Not so much deeper connections with casual acquaintances, people that we know in passing. And as you're breathing into this toroidal field, I want you to start thinking about people that you have not so clean connections with. There might be anger or frustration, bad blood, things unspoken, whatever it might be. And you can do this with one person in particular or a group of people. It doesn't matter. It's all about the intention, the energy. But the highest priority always comes up as soon as you ask, where's the biggest issue? And this might be a person, this might be an event, this might be a timeline in your history, a place where something happened. What I want you to notice is just like when somebody walks too close to you inside of your personal space, it's like an invasion, a bubble. I want you to feel not that close, but just in front of you, like 4 or 5 feet away, that same invasion, almost like somebody's pressing into your field. There we go. Now start to open up the awareness. Who is this person? What is this place? What is this event? And all of these can be interchangeable right here. People, places, things, events, timelines. You just need to tune into it. Feel it invade. Now start to inhale the light into your hands and start to exhale and push it in front of you, creating bright light in between you and this person, place, thing, or event. And feel where the energy's not moving. If you're visual, look down and see where the dark energy connects into them and connects into you. Now recognize what this conduit is. This pathway is like an IV. There's a needle that pops into them, into the darkness that you're shining back at them. And there's a tube that goes to a needle that pops into you, that echoes back the darkness. They're reflecting back at you. And we can't fight for peace. We have to peace for peace. And this is literally energetic warfare that is happening right here. As soon as you think about somebody and then you start to feel anger or hate, you're connecting into that person with their energy of that thinking of them. And then you're feeling that energy, that darkness, and you're directing it at them. It's literally black magic. And this is why we can't fight on these levels. We have to peace on these levels. I want you to start exploring the place where this pops into you, where you feel the resonance of this connection. Deep breath into it, feeling it, like you're mapping it out. There we go. Let's turn up that smile tornado right into this place. And on the exhale, start pushing this light that you're creating through that conduit that pops into them. This might take 5 or 6 breaths. It might take 1 or 2. Keep on focusing on that laughter, that light, that movement, inhaling it in. Exhaling and release, pushing that light towards them. You've been literally attacked. You have the right for self-defense. But again, we have to operate in a 5th dimensional perspective. You can't fight for peace. You have to peace for peace. Reflect this attack with love, with joy, with laughter. Start to clean out that conduit going from you into them, from them into you. And don't allow anything dark in there. Feel the heaviness swirling as you move that tornado through until all of a sudden you pop into the darkness that's inside of them as well. Turn this up. Feel this light get louder. Feel the story of, oh, this person did that, that, and that to me, dropping away. Recognizing that it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're holding on to poison. And once we release the poison, the story disappears anyway. And now let's start pulling in the stragglers. Let's start pulling in everything that is not the highest priority, the little ones. That jerk that cut you off on the road. Person who stole your parking spot. Those little irritations, those little things, those little tags. Start feeling the crowd of people connected to you. Nowhere near as heavy as these big ones, but they're there and they add up. 5 ounces here, 5 ounces there. You do that 10,000 times, you're under a crushing amount of weight. Inhale in between you and all of these people and start creating massive tornadoes of light that shoot out, turning you almost into like an energetic porcupine. Shooting these tornadoes out in every direction, feeling anything heavy connected in on that level becoming light, becoming bright, stronger, more intense. Feel as you drop people out of your field and you reclaim your sovereignty. Now let's take this a step deeper. Cameron Day says, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. We are going to feel what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. Inhale and pull into the gravity of your star, feeling everything that is you pulling into this field. And on the exhale, reverse that sensation and start to push all of these people out of your field. Almost like you're creating a massive amount of wind and they're on ice and they have no choice but to slide further and further away until all of a sudden they drop right off of the edge of perception. There's nothing but you. Now there's only one more level to work on. Start tuning into all the people that you love. Family, children, friends, significant others. And recognize these aren't just beautiful connections of love. There's irritation, there's anger, there's frustration in here. There's disappointment, there's shame, there's guilt. All kinds of things that are in here deep in the emotions and the connections with the people that we love. And clearing cords with people that we love. This is not something that is a bad thing. This is one of the most powerful things you can do, because then you clean out those dark layers inside of that beautiful light, exposing nothing but the light so that we can love them even harder, even stronger, and drop those stories. Deep breath into you, releasing that expectation, that frustration, that control. Releasing that anger, that sadness, that disappointment. Now here's the last, most important one for our family. Begin to inhale into the worry that we use as an excuse of love to direct at our people. Begin to inhale into that worry, that fear that we have to protect them. Stop claiming responsibility for your loved ones. Don't let them claim responsibility for you. They are independent. They are sovereign, just like you are. Pull in what's mine is mine. Push out what's yours is yours, and feel all your loved ones beginning to drop out of your field. pulling into the love of you that you can then cultivate and strengthen and shine and create connections of light. Start pulling in everybody that you want to experience, that brings more into your love, into your life, into your very being. And start shining the light at them. Start shining this laughter, this unconditional love at them, recreating the exact same connection that you had, just the exact opposite resonance, with no binding control, no pathways that are concrete. Effortless, liquid, light, open. Absolutely beautiful. All right, go ahead and release and start breathing into yourself, lighting yourself up like the sun. Feeling that laughter echoing through the bones, the fascia, the skin, the organs, the nervous system. And we're going to start pushing out even deeper, further. Feel that light going out. Feel those points of heaviness. You don't even know these people, but they're there. Tune into the anguish, the sadness, the anger, the control, everything that is directing at you, resonating through you. And pull back the veil from this window and start seeing the movies of these people. The past lives, the future lives, the lives that are existing right now where your consciousness is. Let's tune into the pain, the darkness. Let's tune into the heavy places that you can feel tethered around your space of you that are dragging you down. These tethers, these weights, this is literally karma. This is demanding that you pay for things that you haven't experienced. And instead of the wisdom and the knowledge that comes from having lived that, you have to experience the symptoms of damage. Let's look into this. Let's see these people. Let's feel ourselves existing as these people with that fear, with that pain, with that rage, with that domination and control. Recognize how wrong it is. Recognize how out of the line of morality, of universal consciousness that these feelings are. And as soon as you have awareness, you have the ability to shift, but this is much, much bigger than you were dealing with, which means you have to get bigger. Begin inhaling into yourself, feeling this laughter and this light growing, almost like you're blowing up a balloon. And feel yourself starting to stretch up above your ceiling, down below your floor. Feeling the cool earth as you slide your feet down into the fires deeper below. Feel your head getting cooler as you run through the clouds, as you flush out of the atmosphere. Grow. Be. Big body. Big head. Big arms, big legs, growing the feet and the hands in proportion. Feeling all this space opening up inside of you. Begin to fill it with laughter. Fill it with light. Building up a massive amount of energy. Feeling yourself like 100-mile tall human. Now I want you to look at these people just like you would if you were seeing somebody experiencing these sensations, these images, these lifetimes. And I want you to start to direct the emotions that you wish you could experience if you were experiencing the same thing. Comfort, love, connection to God. Begin to shine this light through that heaviness right into the image of these people. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter who they were. What matters is there's a soul that's tortured and wounded. And it is our job as children of God to tap into healing. There it is. Start releasing that portal, that weight, that heaviness. Start inhaling through this glass window and start pushing the energy through into the actual movie of what's happening itself. Start inhaling that laughter, making it echo louder. Feel the outer edges starting to dissolve and begin inhaling into your massive chest. Blowing fire as bright as the sun, echoing laughter through these movies. And feel them disappear like dust in the wind. Stronger and more intense until it's gone. And if you feel any more weights that are hooked in on this level, tune into it now. Ask yourself, what is this? Don't demand to know by putting your expectation on it. Walk up to it, almost like you're cleaning off a window and peer through. Pure observation. See, what is this? And begin to do the process again. This should be much easier. You took care of the heaviest one already. Begin inhaling the feelings that you want somebody to experience if they're experiencing what you're watching. Lack of pain, comfort, tenderness, beauty. Oh, you guys are doing so good. Start pushing through. Break through that barrier, break through that window, and start moving the light. Inhaling into this massive chest. Breathing out bouts of flame as bright as the sun, blowing this wind through these connections. And releasing the weight. Just like you feel it draining out of you, feel it draining out from outside of you, underneath all of this. Very good. Release all of this. Let the weight go and pull back into you. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. Noticing how as you pull in, there are conduits of movement that give you energy as you pull in that weren't there before. Notice how as you exhale, there are deeper levels that are releasing out of the body. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. Cultivate your love. Cultivate your joy. Make it strong inside of this place that is free, unencumbered. Turn this up. Oh, wow. That was just absolutely amazing. All right, everybody, go ahead and start wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, rubbing the hands together, getting everything moving, blinking the eyes, and start coming on back. That was really, really intense right there. Now, Sarah, you stood out quite a bit, actually, as you were doing this. I'm going to unmute you real quick here. Actually, it looks like you're going to have to unmute yourself. What were you feeling during this, Sarah?
Oh, my God. Well, I have, gosh, to start, when you were setting it up and we were going to that bigger place, you were setting it up. I think I went back to Andromeda because I wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
So my human self didn't experience what the setup was. I'm pretty sure I was in the heart of Aqualasha in Andromeda, where Divine Mother, Matrix was loading up. And then I came to in consciousness and going, oh, we're doing something. And so my human self was like, I'm not sure what we're doing, but I'm just going to try and jump on, and then I just, I just with you, I just was with all of us. And I just felt, because I've been feeling sort of this archetypal, massive collective fear blueprint of the false Sophianic network on the earth, like the whole thing, right? I've been working on since September. And so I just felt that one. And every corner where children were being abused, where people where life was being threatened, I just kept extending Divine Mother love and compassion and just this incredible sense of well-being into the core of these trauma moments for all of these beings. And it was just very broad spectrum. I wasn't sure how it connected, to my human self. But,
yeah.
And then I felt to tell you that there's this black hole suck point in when I was death spelled, the final linchpin placement of the fucking thing was right over the solar plexus. And there's still some piece of unforgiveness in me that allows this taproot of this negative alien total attack on the life of the whole Sophianic matrix through my belly. And I wondered if we could somehow tap that, if that's on the agenda. I wanted to mention that.
So definitely, it's just information. Everything that we just did today already, those are the tools that you need to start releasing that. The bottom line is things attacking you are not the problem. They're going after food. They are going after trauma. They are going after damage that's already in there in whatever flavor it might be. It might be traumatic exposure. It might be anger. It might be fear. It might be anything on that level. But what they're doing is they're giving you the direct line of sight to where you can operate to clean that out.
Okay.
If they don't have any food, they have nothing to go after, and they start to not exist inside of that reality. Does that make sense?
Total sense. Yeah.
So that's the bottom line right there. And this is the biggest thing that I think most people can actually understand is the implants and the entities. Yeah, they're scary when you start coming into contact with these things, but they are not the cause. And when we start recognizing that they are our best friends because they're actively showing us exactly
showing us work, there's the food.
It's not exactly fun, but when we start recognizing it from that level, that's when we can really start cleaning the stuff out. Now, what was really interesting about this whole entire thing, I've never actually walked a bunch of people through genetic clearing like that before. The echoes that were coming through that, humankind is way more connected than even I thought. It's almost like the human blueprint. Like when we go back into and feel our parents behind us and their parents behind them and their parents behind them, it turns into this massive crowd of people that leads to the pyramid point of view. Now, we go back far enough, there's other people on other pyramids, and it's all connected once we go back far enough. And there are the initial traumas that happen to start creating that wounding cycle that then cycled stronger and stronger and stronger until we're experiencing it right now. And that's what we're actively cleaning out. And as everybody was letting go, as everybody was releasing on that level, it was just really interesting because it was like you guys were doing work on me just by me being human. And I think there's actually a huge potential for this. I think what we're going to have to start really doing in this work is starting to coming together in groups like this more often than not healing ourselves on this level and then going out into the genetics, because we're all connected and we all have access to that pool, and we all have our own little bucket, you know, and just because it's our own little bucket doesn't mean that it doesn't access everything else. And so this was really actually eye-opening for me. That was really an amazing job that you guys did right there. That was beautiful. All right, so we've got questions here. So Otto, sometimes when I go deep into these types of meditations, bringing in a lot of light into my field and body, I start feeling these deeper tensions, pains in the body. So as we were doing this exercise, I was able to feel peace and joy and kept that awareness to some extent, but I also get distracted by these tensions. So when I move energy towards others, I don't want to send out these resistances. Should I just let them be there, ignore them, or do I need to move those through those first before sending out the energy towards others? This is really a great question, Otto. What you're becoming aware of right there is that deeper level that you need to work on. And so you can do all kinds of work on a very clean, pure level, even though you have dysfunction. And this is, you know, you hear about the wounded healer all the time. You know, the wounded healer who's got so much damage going on inside that they understand exactly what it's like for people to suffer, and they can't stand seeing it, so they have to do something about it. You can do very powerful work on that level, but you can't go to the deeper levels without cleaning these things out of yourself. And so what you're doing is you're bringing up to the surface the awareness of where you need to go next. We don't have enough time to do this directly today, but this is what you need to start recognizing, is it's all about the awareness. And as soon as you clean something out, the next highest priority is going to pop its head up. You clean that out, the next highest priority is going to pop up. You clean that out, here's the next, here's the next. But the thing is, it's always the loudest one, the most intense. And as these tensions inside of the body are popping up, it's nowhere near compared to the tension you were feeling before, is it? You know, and that's what you have to start looking at right there, is you're cleaning out layers. And the problem with most people is we've gone our entire lives without ever moving the body like this before. And so what you're recognizing is that you have fluid, you have flow, you can move it consciously through the body, but now you're starting to recognize that your plumbing is a bit caked up, it's a bit tight, it's a bit tense. That's perfectly okay. It's all about just recognizing that you start off as metal, and then you blossom into wood, and then you blossom into mud, then you blossom into water, you know, and then you clean the water out. And it's a process. And so I'd be very surprised if a lot of you got everything cleaned out today with what we're doing, specifically because we're not doing actual sessions. This is more of a guided meditation than anything. And I'd be really surprised if you were able to go all through those levels, because people just don't know how to access these. And it's only through self-exploration that I've been able to then translate the body language and show you guys how to do this as well. And I'm on the same path as you. You know, I've got tension inside of me that every single time I do this, I get a little bit deeper into, I get a little bit further into, and I can start figuring out another level. And yet at the same time, I do work that people say is miraculous. So, you know, it's all about just recognizing that you can be aware of things, but it's when you give them the energy, you give them the focus, that's when they start to actually create resonance. I actually had an interview not too long ago on Enlighten Up with Nicole Froelich and that crowd over there. They're beautiful people. I highly recommend you guys check them out. But I called it the stinky cheese effect. We have a piece of stinky cheese. This is the trauma. That stink, that's the residue. That is not the cheese, but it's because of the cheese that it's there. And so what we have to do is we start cleaning out that residue and that trauma, and all of a sudden that cheese, where that stink is coming from, it starts to pop up. It starts to make itself known. And that's where we start doing that. Does that make sense? Good stuff. All right. So we've got more questions here. Let's go back up. Okay, so Natasha, can you tell me, I can't tell you how much energy work I have done today, and I just figured out I had a black magic spell on me. These are very easy to tune into. Once you can move your energy through the body, once you have a conscious connection inside of you, you can then take that awareness and push out with that light, with that laughter, and anything that is not of that resonance of light and joy, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Once something sticks out like a sore thumb, you can inhale and you just drop your awareness on it like you're blind and you're just trying to feel, what is this? And then it's there. And it's not something that you have to instinctively understand and know on a conscious level. When it does pop up, that means you're making those connections a lot faster. But you can feel it, and you can feel the emotion and the intention. And if you can feel the emotion and intention, you have awareness of what's happening. All you have to do is clean it out. That's it. Sophie, yes, would love to do more of these meditations as a group. You know, I think this is actually going to be a thing. Barbara Buck, actually, she is one of the people that I've been training for a while. She has been playing around with Arcturians lately, and they have been showing her this filter around the sun that I think is directly connected into what we're doing right now. And this filter around the sun, people hear about the cult of the black sun and stuff like that. It's not that there's literally a black sun. It's this filter that the sunlight has to go through. The sun is not supposed to hurt us. It's not supposed to damage us on this level. It's that filter that it's going through. And she has been actively going in and dissolving out these layers, but it's really strong, and there's just not enough people to do this. And so I think this is actually something that's connected directly into that as well. So we're going to start definitely doing these. So Pamela says, I realize that the laughter sounds like a child, then realize that's why the evil ones are targeting children. Nailed it. If all the children on the planet would be able to laugh again, the earth would change immediately. That was incredible. So it's not just the children. If all of the adults were able to laugh with the children, the whole entire darkness would disappear in one single day. That's how tenuous their hold is on our planet right here. And this is one of the reasons why they have so much of that satanic ritual abuse against children, because they experience and feel emotions much, much more intensely than we do as an adult. But as an adult, what we have done is we have become an adult, meaning we have programmed ourselves out of that inner child state into what we feel right now, which is a less deeper connection. And those programs are what run the actual collective consciousness. And that collective run, that is what is keeping everybody stuck inside of this sensation of being in the matrix. And it's the adults more than anything who are collectively programmed, because you can't program kids like that. The kids are the fuel, the adults are the fine tuning that keep it going in that system right there.
Can we have the kids do the work with us? I mean, you know, the teenage, like your kids that are
old enough. Oh yeah, and so that's the thing though, kids, like especially my kids, you know, it's really funny, they're very aware, and we were playing around with psychic stuff just yesterday, but the thing is, I'm still their dad, you know, and like, it's really funny because I'm really doing world level groundbreaking work right here, and it's just normal to my kids, and so they don't get as excited about it.
I know.
So, you know, it's one of those things, we just have to, we have to deal with it as it comes, and when they are inclined to do it, that's when, you know, that's when we can kick it up into full bore. And you know, they're starting to get close. Like my kids are actively bringing up these conversations with me. They're actively bringing up the programs that they're seeing in the world around them and the way that people interact. So yep. You know, and they're on that level of that generation. They're opening up that collective as well, and they're not the only kids doing this. So
and I want to
really fun to watch.
I so much want to create the music and the art and stuff, you know. And I don't know, I'm trying to create a cable TV show for kids right now, you know, that really can bridge some of those gaps. So I got to come.
And see, that's the thing is, like, we've got to start really communicating with the kids on the
we
way
have
they operate on. You know, they are such powerful manifestors.
And
when we can get them excited about our dream, you know, that's when they can start really building up the future that they deserve to exist inside of. Because I'm not just going to sit by and let this world do what it's doing. I'm going to hand my children something I'm proud of before I'm gone, you know. And that's one of the major impetus reasons that I'm even doing this. It's because I recognize how wrong everything is, and I'm not going to hand my children something that I didn't at least try to make a better place. And, you know, that's what we're here for. The kids are the next generation. They are the next level of where this is all going. And when we can tie them into what we're doing, they already are a part of it. And, you know, they're very powerful. They really are.
Yeah.
So, well, we've got... No, you're very welcome. We've got Denise next. She says, I started out feeling like a rock, then stretched into taffy and expanded as a sun. Thank you. So what you're feeling right there, this is exactly that energetic density that I was talking about. So let's put a metaphor to this. We have very low, stuck, deep, dense vibrations like hate, anger, fear, pain, stuff like that. This is almost like metal. This is almost like energetically very, very blocked, stuck. It doesn't move. It takes a lot of effort to shift it around. Then when we have things like love, unconditional love, joy, excitement, hope, compassion, empathy, this is like plasma. This is like very hot gas. And then we have everything in between. We have all these gases and different states of gas down into liquids and different viscosities of liquids into frozen liquid and then into solid matter. And what you did is it's literally like you took yourself from that metal state into that gaseous plasma state. Now, that being said, if you did feel like a rock beforehand, this means that there is still blockage. This is not going to be just one thing that you can do and everything's cleaned out and everything's cured. what you have to do is really take these techniques and apply them every single day, even if it's just like 2 or 3 minutes worth of breathing inside your body. That's more than enough to keep this open and keep it flowing. And it'll also be more than enough to recognize it's not enough, and then you'll have to do more to make it feel better. So
no, great tools. Thank you so much, because yeah, I'll be doing this on a regular basis.
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
right before I go to bed.
Yeah,
And yeah, I know there's a lot more to do. I can feel it.
Well, I actually find it wakes me up before I go to bed. So I try to do this about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours before I go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
And that allows me to really kind of up the ante, get everything moving and shifting. And I'm just, yeah, let's do this. And then I can start calming myself down later on.
Okay.
Because I get so jazzed when I do this work. I was like, yeah, did you see that trauma I just released? Woohoo! So it's
good pointer. Thank you.
It's one of those things that, if you want to sleep, don't do this before bedtime. But if you don't mind staying up a little bit later and being really excited while you're doing it, have at it. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Like, this was a lot of fun, you guys. All right, so Douglas, doing this breathing, I sometimes feel a jerking or shaking that I feel is energy moving, but are these areas of stuckness or distractions? I actually should have brought this up. So what you're experiencing there is trauma release. Now, when I don't know if anybody's ever heard of TREs or trauma release exercises, but this is something that I actually walk people through at my retreat. Because it takes that trauma that's inside of the actual physical level on the muscle memory, and it forces the body to release. Now, the way that they explain this, if you've ever seen a big game animal, like a bear or a moose or something like that, that was tranquilized, when they wake up, they immediately start taking off running, and they do this weird shaking, seizuring thing. What this is happening is that it was a traumatic experience. More often than not, they have to chase these things down with a helicopter. So now they've got this crazy loud bird. Now they got stung. Now they're blacking out as people are around them. It's very traumatic for the animal. When they wake up and they take off, they start to actually shake that trauma out of the body. And this is why animals don't actually have PTSD. They have learned behavior like Pavlov's dog. But if that dog never had that bell ring and you swung a newspaper at it, it wouldn't even notice it was coming, And so, like, this is why animals are really, really powerful on the level that they interact with the body. Their belly brain is completely and totally open, which is why they can go running an hour after they were born. And so what we have to start trying to do is use the techniques and the things that they have already going on that show us exactly what to do. Now, trauma release exercises, they cause you to go into seizures. They cause you to go into uncontrollable spasms and things like that, because it's literally shaking the tension out of the musculature. And so when you're inhaling in through the body and you're feeling like those jerks and those twitches, that is that tension literally shifting out of the musculature right there and releasing. And you'll notice as soon as it starts twitching, you'll get more blood flow through the area, and then everything will start to relax a lot more as well. So that twitching sensation, if you feel like you're starting to really shake or shiver or stuff like that, that is a very, very deep trauma release. And you want to almost breathe into it and make it try to calm itself down. And as you try to calm that shaking down, it'll get way more intense until it flushes itself out of the body. It can be a bit of a shocking process if you don't understand the mechanics of it. But once you do understand the mechanics of it, it's a good thing. You want that to happen because it's getting the junk out of the body in a way that you don't have to consciously release. Your body's just saying, okay, this is done, and turning it off.
And I would say that sometimes it comes with great joy, or through the breathing process, or I'm driving along and have a wonderful thought, and all of a sudden I'll get this, I'll get a jerk or a shiver.
Yeah.
And that is breaking up.
Yes, sir. See, and that's the thing, what you just talked about, that wonderful surge of joy, that jolt or response, that is the chi moving through your body. It is hitting that high vibration, but instead of recognizing what it is and consciously moving it and strengthening it, you're just feeling it. And you're like, oh, that was nice. Now you have the tools to turn that on and to consciously direct that instead of just waiting for it to happen. It's like cultivating willpower instead of building, reverse. It's like cultivating willpower instead of waiting for motivation to happen. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Either way, you get it done and you're motivated. So awesome. All right, Natasha. The laughter push is huge. I'm so grateful for that new technique. And this right here, when I heard about power poses and I'd already been moving the wind through the body, like here, actually, let me kind of give you a little bit of how I discovered this. So when I started doing this, my first initial activation that opened me up, it was me doing a bunch of yoga and concentrating really hard inside of my body. And that was it. I didn't know any of these techniques or anything like that. And it was as I started to progress into that concentration and realizing I could move that concentration and then feeling the breath inside of the body intensely, that started opening up on that level. And I was getting really good on that level. I could move energy through people's bodies and clean out that body level like nobody's business. But the emotions were still stuck. I was still experiencing trauma. I was still really angry and frustrated, and I couldn't figure it out. I saw a power pose, that Wonder Woman pose right there. And I just, oh, are you kidding me? This makes so much sense. And the first time I tried it, when I inhaled that smile and I felt that rush and that release, I had a back spasm that ended up clicking my whole entire spine from my sacrum up to about halfway through my back. And it opened up so much. It released so much. Because the thing is, the tension inside of the body, we ignore it. It doesn't feel real because it gets so tight that the body recognizes that you can't deal with that pain and it shuts off that feeling. Once we start recognizing that the emotions are stuck inside of that actual physicality, inside of that tension that we can't feel, and we go in and we release the reason for the muscles to be tight, the physical body starts to heal. The emotions start to release. The trauma starts to let go. And it's just a beautiful process all the way around. And then when you couple it with the frequency, the vibration of the light, that's where the real magic happens. We're a mind, a body, and a spirit, you know, and when you have all three lined up together and you're using them all at one time, it's the trifecta. You know, it's instead of just going after the body on the body level, we're using the mind to direct us exactly where we need to go. And we're using the spirit to release anything that's stuck. And then we're cleaning the body out. And it's the same way, you know, and you just have to be aware of where you're working. So if you're breathing through the body and you feel things get stuck and they're not moving and you're only on the wind, that's physical toxicity. That's blockage in the pulmonary or the lymphatic system. And all you have to do is flush through it and it starts to open up the body. If you're breathing through the laughter and things get serious, they get stuck, they get heavy, it stands out like a sore thumb. And this is where trauma is. These are those frozen bits of time that you're carrying around with you. And little caveat, this is the language of light. And if you're speaking to the universe in words, but you're screaming in trauma the whole entire time, what do you think it's listening to? Ta-da! Magic! Good stuff. All right, Sigilda. Hi, Siggy. Massive release of attachments to expectations and disappointment. Hurt feelings. Feeling very light right now. Expectations. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing that you brought up right here. Expectations are the only thing that causes disappointment. If we experience people, places, things, and events as they are, not what we want them to be, there is no room for disappointment. We are always in the moment, connecting in the deepest level of heart space connection. And so when we think about emotions that really block the body, we think immediately fear, anger, you know, sadness, stuff like that. Expectations is one of the sneakiest little weights you could ever hook into yourself. And when you expect to go into something having a certain experience and then you're let down, you can't experience what you experienced and fully learn from it. You can't enjoy it. You can't integrate it because it's not enough. The grass wasn't green enough. And so when we start recognizing these expectations that we put on other people, places, things, events, and timelines, we start to recognize that we are literally echoing ourselves backwards into disappointment. And expectation is the cause, disappointment is the effect. And when we go in and release everything and we say, I am going to experience this here. What is this? Just like we do inside of the body, all of a sudden we can be inside of that situation, that place, and we don't feel like we need to tell it that it needs to do this. We don't say that it has to be a certain way. It's just like a tree. We look at it and we appreciate it for being a tree. You know, that's how we need to start looking at people too. They're all trees. You know, we don't tell trees that they need to grow this way or that branch needs to be bigger. We just look at the tree and we say, oh, how gorgeous. All righty. Cobra talks about that. I don't know what part you were talking about.
Oh, the around the sun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've only heard like a few people talk about that before, and I don't know if I ever saw Cobra doing it. I haven't been following him lately. He actually shared one of my articles on one of his blogs, and that was about 1.5 years ago, and I've just kind of fallen out. I've really been getting to the point to where I'm creating my own information. I used to be an information junkie. I was always waiting for the next update, the next intel, the next thing that was happening. Yeah. And it got to the point to where I was like, I know everything. Like, there's nothing for me to research anymore, and it's only just me waiting on other people's words and other people's experiences. So I'm going to apply my information and I'm going to start creating my own experiences. And so that's what I've been doing for a while now. All right, CJ. I did tap the Sari and Draco energetic collective, drain the heaviness and darkness from the collective, and tap them into their own divinity, from the lowest echelons to the most royal, projecting what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours mentality, asking them to see the oneness within us all as well as their own individuality, while showing the elites what it is that they are truly doing to the lower echelon, and inviting them to rise into unity consciousness, hand in hand with us. I definitely felt aspects of their soul rising with me. It was beautiful. What you're doing right here, this is actually a really interesting thing, is that a lot of people have reptilian DNA. Most races do, and it's actually Asians and white people who have more percentage of reptilian DNA than any other race. And this, not only it gives us a doorway into their collective, it also allows us to feel that warlike domination and control and feel how alien it is to what is supposed to be real. And that right there is just a lovely, lovely gateway. And you did some powerful work right there, buddy. I find that one of the most easiest ways to do this type of work, like you run into a really nasty entity that is just full of rage and pain and anger, and it's trying to hurt you as much as it can. When you step out of the way of that war and you start directing the feelings inside of yourself that you would want to feel if you were experiencing that rage, that anger, and that need to hurt, and you start directing those feelings at the beast, and you start creating like a heart space for those feelings to echo and resonate inside of, that's the easiest way to actually convert things into the light. You feel it yourself, you experience the sympathy, the compassion, the unconditional love, and the joy, and then you create that resonance inside of that beast, inside of that darkness. And that's similar to what you just did right there. It takes away the war aspect. It makes it so that you're not the etheric ninja, the etheric warrior, you know, hacking and slashing with your sword. It turns you into a sun, a broadcaster of love. And instead of just shining at things, you can create conduits that open up inside of things. And then you can shine it at and in at the same time. And, you know, this is how we start not resisting. Because we can't hang the bankers, we can't storm Congress, we can't do any of that. Other people would just pop up in their place. What we need to start going after is that need for domination, that need for control, that ability to be programmed. And that's what we're rewriting. It's good stuff, CJ. Yes, sun clearing meditations. Oh. Sarah, and it's the reason I want to create inspiring, beautiful entertainment for children and education and awakening music. Yeah, definitely. You know, and that right there, that is something that is hands down the bridge that we need to start gapping. And it's not just with our children, it's with our elders as well. You know, with the nuclear family, we have separated everything so much, and it's just, you know, the titular head of the family. You've got the man and the woman who provide for the 2.5 children. And it's literally a village broken into a piece. And what's happening here is we are seeing everything breaking down in the society and the connection, and we don't care for our elders anymore. They are not important to us. That wisdom and that experience is not taught to our children. It is not felt inside of our communities anymore. And the same with our children. They are very, very wise souls. And the deeper we go into making that human connection with them and start getting out of our quote unquote adult world, because you can only exist inside of it so long until you start breaking down and regressing, and that's what we call getting old. And so, like, there's only so long that we can exist inside of this, and the more we connect in with our elders, the more we connect in with our children, the stronger we're going to make the resonance on this planet to really hit everything on these levels. And it's all about just paying attention to what resists, what's blocked, and what's not moving correctly, and this is one of the biggest ones that we can actively start working on. All right, and can we do this with chemtrails too? Yes, what I want you to do here, let's just practice this. Look outside of a window, and if you have chemtrails in the sky, even better. If not, you know, we're going to just practice right here. Inhale into your hand, create a big bubble of light and laughter. Start erasing the chemtrails out of the sky like it's a whiteboard. Feel your light projecting into the sky as you're doing this. And these are really fun. I've actually got astral tools. I created a pack of lions that are about maybe 1.5 miles tall. And it took me about maybe a month. I'd have to give them energy 4 or 5 times a day until they became autonomous. But they run around and they slap chemtrail planes out of the sky, and they turn these big, you know, big chemtrail junk planes into like these rainbow unicorn fart glitters. And it's really funny to see so you'll see the airplane coming, and then it'll have the trail right behind it, and about that far behind it, it'll completely dissolve, and then it won't be there anymore. And it's really easy. You just have to practice with it. But the sky is actually a very powerful place to put your intentions. And you can see responses in the sky a lot faster than you can here on the physical planet, simply for the fact that what we're seeing is a reflection outside of that dense quarantine. And so when we project our energy to it, that dense quarantine isn't in the way, and it almost immediately shows itself. So if you are experiencing a need for the sun, go ahead and make a hole in the clouds, and you will have sunlight. You just have to focus on it. All righty. That was fun stuff. All right, so you guys ready for the galactic attunement? Let's do this. Okay, so what I want you to do is start going back into that inhalation pattern to where you are stretching yourself and you are making yourself big. And I already kind of talked about this earlier. When I went into those past life connections, I had to build up my energy flow until I got to that galactic level. And this is what we're going to do. But we have to start off simple first. That way you understand the pathway and you know how to make it. What I want you to do is start really inhaling into your body and exhaling and creating a brilliant golden light around you. You are the sun. And light this up. Tuning into that laughter, feeling that excitement go rushing through all of it. And as you're doing this, I want you to feel how you're magnetically pulling yourself back into you. A free floating ball of consciousness in a liquid, open universe around you. Now I want you to tune into the physical sun itself. If you can feel the light on your skin, that's definitely more effective, but if not, it doesn't matter. Feel the sun shining. Feel that light radiating. And feel yourself lifting in this magnetic freedom and pointing right at the sun. And inhale, feeling yourself trying to replicate this light. Now take a deep breath in and start to grow. Feeling the sun, this massive, brilliant ball of light, becoming smaller. Feeling yourself getting bigger and bigger until you can see the sun at eye level. It's just as big as you. Reach your hands out, touching the sun. And almost like you've got a nose or a mouth in the palms of your hands and the tips of your fingers. Take a deep breath of this brilliance, filling the body even brighter. And start moving forward, pushing in even deeper. And find yourself sinking right into the center of the sun. And feel it cleansing, cleaning, opening. Almost like every single pore of your skin has a smiling mouth on it. Begin to inhale from every single surface, deep into the bones. Feeling your heart space lighting up even brighter than the sun around you. Now begin to grow. Feeling yourself beginning to expand beyond this light. Feel the sun becoming smaller until it fits right inside your chest. Massive, absolutely enormous. Now take a deep breath right into the center of this star and start to electrify it, feeling brilliant platinum explosions of electricity in the center of the sun. and feel how they bolt outwards, connecting through the electric flows that hook in the stars to each other. Start to notice the stars around you, pinpoints of light. See how far away they are, how little they look. Feel that electric connection and begin to grow, starting to expand until you can fit the local cluster of the galaxy inside of your chest, electrifying it, tuning into that flow, that current, as that galactic spiral arm comes out down all the way to us. Start shining that lightning bolt all the way up to the galactic core, electrifying each star, making that connection into the sun, and magnetize it, feeling yourself getting pulled from star to star to star, right up into the core. Feel yourself getting closer, this light that dwarfs the sun, the intensity that dwarfs the sun. Feel the God spark that is deep inside of this core, radiating outward. Deep breath. There it is. Start sinking through the outer layers, falling deep into the core. Almost like the gravity is drawing you into the very center space where you float weightless. And here's where we begin to lose the body. Begin to take a deep breath in, expanding to fit the entire galactic core, and start pushing your awareness down the spiral arms of the galaxy to the very tips. Feel yourself as the galaxy. Turn this up. You are the galaxy. This is your body. Now take a deep breath down that smaller side arm, right down to our solar system, lighting up the sun even more intense, seeing those tiny little specks rotating around it, tuning into the third one closest to the sun, that bright blue and green pearl, swirling with clouds. And tune in directly to your state, your country, wherever you might be on this tiny, pale little dot. And inhale down through your home, right to you, right through the top of your physical body. Start pushing this light down through the top of your head, all the way into the earth. Feeling the light of the earth lighting up just as bright as the sun. Feeling yourself, that third ball of light in between the sun and the earth. Now, this is a hard perception to hold on to. Bear with me, though. I'm going to try to explain this. Begin to grow your physical body, holding on to this awareness of your galactic connection until you feel your physical body being the space in between the sun, in between the earth. 3 brilliant points of light, just like the dantians of the body, head, heart, lower abdomen. And start to inhale through this physical body, feeling this galactic, massive body forming with the sun as your head, with you as the heart, with the earth as your lower abdomen. Upper, middle, lower dantian. Begin to inhale into all 3. You, the sun, Pachamama. Just like that. And we're going to grab a hold of all of these awarenesses like we're stretching out in the galactic and the solar system level. We're going to grab a hold of these like we're locking it in. Deep breath in. Now shrink back into your body, holding on to all of these awarenesses, and pull this vastness back into that itty bitty little you. Deep breath in and expand that galaxy inside of that tiny body. Gently wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, feeling that physical body taking precedence, that tingling that starts to shoot through. Oh, wow, that was a good one. Go ahead and start rubbing the hands together, creating heat. Just like your eyeballs breathe for you. Put the heat over top and inhale through the eyeballs into the brain, warming everything up. Exhale, rub the face. Blink the eyes, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Come on back. Yeah, that was a good one. All righty, how are you guys feeling there? Let's bring somebody on. Azra, I haven't heard anything from you today. Let's unmute.
I know, I've been waiting. I feel in a state of bliss, really opened up and cleared up. And I'm so grateful for this space that you're creating so we can learn, and I can add up to the golden frequency retreat that we learned so much. And today is just like blows my mind, really. What can we do? You know, start helping with the sun, with the black sun, and all of this collective things. And I'm so excited to work together and have more of these meditations.
Beautiful. And so that's kind of what we're actually heading into next is our gratefulness, the things that we are excited to experience, the things that we want to see in the world that we're grateful for already. And I just got to say, I am so grateful for all of you. You know, you guys are grateful for the space that I'm creating here, but I can't do this without each and every one of you. Like, I can do this all by myself, but I'm just one person hammering at a wall with a little chisel and a hammer. And it takes an army of us. And that's exactly what you all are doing right now. And it's so beautiful to watch. And I am so eternally grateful for all of you, Azra. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, it opened up so much for me after the Golden Retreat. My life changed just after those 7 days. And it's rapidly changing, and it's amazing. I feel like I'm just like on the beginning, start living, this amazing journey with all of us.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what's so fun about this is I honestly feel like I'm at the beginning too.
Yeah.
I honestly, truly feel that once we are able to snap into a resonance to where we can transform our bodies at will, that is the beginning. That is where we are working towards. And that is when we can actually start creating this golden age right here. And I'm not sure if it goes in that order, but I still feel like I'm at the beginning. And everything that I'm uncovering, everything I'm exploring, and everything that I do know and understand, it's not enough. And it keeps on opening up another level and another level and another level. And just like when we go through the skin and then you can feel the muscles because it's waking up the skin and that turns on the flow into the musculature, it's the same exact thing. We're going deep into the body, we're connecting into these energies, and we're moving them out. We're cleaning anything outside of us that does not feel wholesome, does not feel clean. And that gives us that awareness. Even if we don't know what it is, it's like, hey, that's stuck, it's not moving. What is this? And we turn up that volume dial, we pull back those veils of perception, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, this is how that connects in. Oh my gosh, that's a whole new skill. That's a new ability I can use now. And then you go inside of that new one, and that gives you an awareness of something else that it's there. I don't know what it is, but let's turn it up. Let's find out. And then boom, breakthrough. That's the next level. And so, you know, you hear people talk about like Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and Reiki 3. I was certified at the master level, Reiki level 3, at 15 years old. And I have gone through probably at least 120, 130 upgrades since then. So like if we were to continue on at that level, and I'm way beyond the master level, but you'll never ever catch me saying I'm a master, because there's so much more to learn. And it's all about what we're doing right here. It's taking these perceptions that it starts off with, it feels like something, it does this, and then we put our intention to it, and then it starts to release, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, this is so much more than I thought it could be. How far does it go? And I don't know. So that's what's so fun about all this here. It looks like we got people talking here. I'm feeling totally blessed. Yes, let's do this often, once a month maybe. You know, that actually is a really good idea. I've been doing the foundations classes where I show people how to actually do this energy work and then work on each other. And I can only handle 12 people in each class. This one, there's a lot of people, but it's not like I'm doing individual work with each and every one of you. So I think this might actually be something that we can do more often and just have like a theme for it. I'm actually putting together a series right now. It's going to be 12 months of coaching. It's going to be roughly around like 20, 30 bucks a month or something like that. But what we're going to do is a group coaching session going through into tapping into different energies and different resonances and frequencies. And this actually, it looks like it's going to go in lockstep with that too. So it'll be really fun to get this all kind of ironed out and fleshed out, but this totally has to happen. We have to start having bigger groups that come together that do this type of work. And the more we do this when we're not in the physical, the faster it starts drawing us into a place to where we can do this in the physical. And my whole end goal is to create a property for starseeds to come and live on with a contributionism society, to where we don't have to pay for it, and we can live a standard and a quality of life that is much, much more than we could if we were trying to find our own way. And in order for us to do that, we have to start coming together on these levels and start building that dream, building that resonance until it starts to become real. Because I'll tell you what, the only thing that's keeping me back right now is money. I would have done this if I could afford it, you know? So, and that's where it's at. And the more people who do this, the more people get excited about it. The more people who get excited about it, the more we can build this into something to where, you know, I'll put on an event and we'll have 300 or 400 people show up. And that right there, that is where we're going to start really getting this to the point to where you guys are helping me build this steamship that we can then move into together. And it's really a beautiful process. I'm really excited about it. All right. Sarah. Space, the final frontier, inner space. We could clear the black tree of life. Yes, so the Kabbalah, there is a very specific sigil of the black tree of life, and it's built the same exact way that we build a bright tree of life, a life of a tree of creation. All that joy, all that excitement, all of these nodes that these connect into, and the way that they interact with each other. It's the exact same process that was built in the exact opposite levels. And so where we move joy and happiness and energy and openness through our body, these guys tune into hate, tune into anger, and they move heaviness. And so that's why they're strong like that on that level, because it takes a lot of effort to move it on that, but they have to hijack that energy from the other people. And this is where all that satanic ritual abuse comes from. You know, they have to power that, and it's a very powerful system, but it's very easy to unlock. And that's what we have to do, is just build up enough resonance in order to get it to where it's more over on this side and then it spills through. So, Matthew, I had a client come in and had to take off for a bit, and I came back to a space where I was instantly able to jump back in with you all. It was amazingly intense. I love this. Thanks, guys. You know, that's awesome, bud. So I wasn't going to give a recording for this, but I'm totally recording it right now. I'm just going to send this to you guys. That way that you have everything, because sometimes we do snap out of coherence. It's hard to remember what we were doing. And it's really good to have these that we could go through again later on. And so if there's anything that you missed, it'll be right there for you too. CJ, it felt amazing. I was blinking back and forth between stars before you'd even mentioned it. That's because when I start tuning into these things right here, if you're already having a deep connection with much more knowledge that you came in with, you'll start doing the things that I'm about to tell you to do before I even tell you to do them. And it's the body language. It's not that I am showing you a specific pathway. It's that my words are giving you awareness to what's already there. And if you're already aware on that level, you'll blink right into it immediately. and it felt like all my synapses lit up and I fit the sun within my physical brain, yet the heart still felt like it was encompassing the solar system. I would love doing this more often. Yeah, do it as much as you can. When you can sit inside of that galactic body with your head as the sun, your heart as yourself, and the lower abdomen as the earth, that right there is one of the strongest galactic conduit connections that you can make in this physical reality. The only thing stronger would be if you were to actually teleport yourself into the sun physically, which is possible. It won't kill you, but I don't know how to do it yet. So, Sarah, can we work on the money grid, freeing from the satanic matrix, allowing the reality to flow through the hands of Christed energy, 12 trees instead of 10 tree points? So abundance, this is something that is actually really easy to start cleaning out. The problem is that there is work that has to be done on the physical level to do this, because it's a mind, a body, and a spirit. And we can only do so much mind and spirit work before we have to do the physical work as well. And oftentimes what happens is we have abundance blocks that show us exactly what we are holding back from, making connections that we are scared to make. And that right there, it's a perfect way to tune into exactly what is going on and what you need to clean out. And it's when we have those blocks inside of ourselves, when we start tuning our attention to what we avoid in order to make our lives more powerfully happy in this moment, you know, the procrastination, the fear, the avoidance, all those things right there are not easy things to get through, but they're blocking that abundance right there. And as soon as you start recognizing that I want to be here, I'm right here, I've got all this junk I have to work through right here, the only way to do it is to get it done. And that right there, we have tools that can go into those programs, but until you actually step up to the program and rewrite it, it's going to be in fruition underneath the surface. One of the biggest ones that I actually had to rewrite, which is really funny looking at me now, I used to be incredibly shy. I had an intense fear of speaking in front of people. And the only way that I was able to get through this was I went to an open mic class, an open mic night at an improv club. And there was roughly about 50 or 60 people that were there. And I walked up there and I said, here, let me try to recreate this. Hi, my name is Eric. Hi, my name is Eric. And I am intensely scared of talking in front of people. And I decided to come up here because I had to do it. And I have to do it. And I'm talking and I'm doing it for you guys. And it's scaring the ever-loving piss out of me right now. And I sounded like a goat. And I kept on talking until I got to the point to where I could start smiling and feeling okay. And that was the only way I could ever get past doing that. You know, if you're scared of heights, guess what you need to do? You need to get up really high and get scared and start de-triggering that response and start bringing love, joy, and excitement into that fear response. And that's exactly what I was doing, but not knowing what I was doing. And instead of having the tools that I have right now, I just plowed through it. And it was one of the most intensely uncomfortable experiences of my life. Even thinking about it right now, it gets me goat speaking, you know, and I speak in front of people all the time. But this right here, it was a huge problem for me because I was so intensely shy. I did not want people to put their attention on me. And the only way for me to do that was to have people put their attention on me, feel that uncomfortability and say, you know what, I don't like feeling this way. All right, so I'm not going to. And that right there, it's all about mapping it out. It's about what do I need to do right now to improve my life? And then when you know what you need to do and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's too hard. Or, oh, I don't want to do that. That's so much work. That right there, those are the emotions that you need to start breathing into.
Well, how about if you know what you want to do and you're trying like hell to do it, but you don't know what the blocks are that are blocking you from manifesting it? That's
exactly why you have to get out of the mind and go into the physical sensations.
Okay.
Go into what you need to do, and then whatever starts popping up inside of it, like the fear, the hesitance, it will have a physical response inside of your body. And so that's what you need to start cleaning out right there, is that physical response. At the same time, you're bringing that joy into the emotion and you're dissolving that behavior around it. And so this right here, especially when you've built these up for a long time, it's not easy to clean them out. It's not. But it's all about being persistent. And a journey of 1,000 steps, it starts with the very first one. And actually, no, it starts with the decision to even take that first step and to go on that journey. And that right there, that commitment right there to say, I don't know what this is, but I know how to detect things that I don't know what they are. That right there is the biggest one. Now, the other thing that I found for abundance issues is to just recognize that the electromagnetic grid around us has trillions of dollars worth of information flowing through it 24/7. And all we have to do is expand out just a little bit and feel those EMF radiations going through us with that monetary attachment to it, and just kind of create like a little bit of a pocket that catches it. And it works. It's really interesting the way that it works too, because you feel it. It's already inside of you. And instead of just letting it flush through you, you just hold on to a little bit of it. So that right there, that's actually the physical abundance levels. But then the other one, so there's 3 things that I worked on with these, is I got rid of the reasons for the abundance blockages, the resistance I had inside of myself, which, by the way, the other one that was really big for me was responsibility. If I have a whole bunch of money, that means that I have to be a lot more responsible member of society, and I didn't want to do that. You know, that was another thing that was really bugging me right there. But thirdly, the energetic aspect of this, the abundance is not money. Money is the hijacked form of abundance. And when we bypass the money and stop, oh, money, 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 and we open up ourselves inside of the sun level to the flow of universal abundance, it shows up in any way that it needs to, whether or not that is money or other things that you might need to survive or things that you want. You know, things just drop in your lap when this happens. You'll be, you know, randomly talking about something, and then all of a sudden somebody will overhear your conversation and say, hey, I've had this for like 10 years. Like, I don't want it. Do you want this? And it's like, yeah. Wow, did you see that? That was really quick. You know, and it's all about recognizing that when we hinge all of our sustainability and our abundance on that money factor, we're completely and totally bypassing the whole entire system. And we're cutting ourselves off from the vast amount of abundance, and we're putting it right into that one flow that we call money. And you know, there's people out there with more money than they know what to do with, and they don't care about sharing with people. And all you have to do is make one of those types of connections right there, and all of a sudden they value your work is valued, and they pay you for it, you know? And that's what it's all about right here, because when you have value in yourself, people find value in you too. Because, I mean, look, you guys just paid $50 to come hang out with me. And that's literally what it is. I'm showing you guys what I know, and I'm being Eric. I'm just being Eric to the point that people want to do it as well, you know? And that's what it's all about, is getting to the point to where you're so happy and full of your own self-abundance that it just starts to get drawn to you. And when we create a space of pure love, pure positivity, and pure joy, people want to experience that. And when people want to experience that, they draw you in and they pay you for it. You know, there's an equal exchange, and whether or not that payment is in money or it's in an equal exchange of abundance, it really doesn't matter, because that's what it is. And the funny thing is, I actually find that some of my most valuable abundance is when I have that gratitude directed at me, for somebody who has been locked in darkness to then experience that first full clean breath that they've ever felt their whole entire life, and to feel that level of thanks that's directed at me. That right there, that's worth more than any money in the world. And that is hands down one of my major reasons for doing this. It's because it makes me feel good too. And it goes way beyond the money level. And yes, people pay me with money, but people also pay me in a lot of other different things. There's a very, very powerful energetic exchange when it happens. So, you know, it's all about just recognizing those blockages where they are and working on them. And it's an expose of what is blocking you from fully stepping into feeling like you deserve to have abundance. And once you feel like you deserve to have abundance, the universe bends over backwards, because it's the language of light. And if you feel that way, it has to give it to you.
Okay. Oh, what a big one.
Right? Yeah, no, this isn't an easy one. It's really not. I won't lie to you. It's not an easy one. This is the hardest one I've had to deal with, and I'm still dealing with it. You know, there comes points in times where my programming from my mother actually comes through really strongly. She used to do Publishers Clearinghouse all the time. She'd send away, she'd put her little stamps on, and she'd send away. And I said one day, like, wouldn't that be so cool if they showed up and we won? And she's like, oh, that doesn't happen to people like us, Eric. That doesn't happen to us.
Oh, no, cancel, Claire.
Well, that right there, I never even, questioned it. I never even thought about it. It was a program that she had passed down to her that was then passed down to me. And so every once in a while, I'll find myself, people won't book in maybe 4 or 5 days in a row. And I'll notice that the finances are starting to slip. And I'll be like, wait a second, what's going on here? Does this happen to people like us, or does it not? you know?
You have to go back and tweak it.
And you got to go back and you got to play around with it, because we were passed down a lot of things that hide inside of the subconscious. They create real energies that we clean out, but then we start noticing the energy coming back, and then we have to go deeper and find the root of it. So, you know, it's all about just recognizing that this is a pathway that it's not an easy one. But once you do start connecting into truly feeling joy, truly feeling abundance inside of yourself like you deserve it, it has no choice but to show up. And we're talking about stuff like, you know, somebody will like ding your car and all of a sudden your insurance is giving you like a $7,000 check, you know? You know, it's like really weird stuff that just starts popping up. And it's all completely unexpected, because a lot of us believe that we have to trade our time for money, and that's not true at all. What we have to do is be open to abundance in any way that it shows up. And that is when things just start dropping in our laps, you know, almost like magic, because it is.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Teresa, from the last meditation, something that came up for me when giving love to those in pain is that I felt there's limited supply of love, laughter, joy, wealth. Bring the abundance back. I know this is not true. Is it an implant to clear? That's actually quite a bit of the same stuff that we were just talking about with Sarah right there. Love is something that it's like the sun. The sun will eventually burn out one day, but like right now in our time span, it's so long and far away that it really doesn't matter. And so for us, it's pretty much eternal. And this is what happens when you start tapping into that love spring. You might feel like you've built up a wellspring of it, and then when you pour it out, it's like you're emptying it out. That's not the case. What you're feeling is a blockage on most likely the grief levels. Like there's sadness that's keeping you from filling it back up cleanly again. Now, the lungs themselves, these actually deal with grief, the same with the small intestine. And the heart and the large intestine are joy generators. And so we end up having this grief that overwhelms that joy explosion. And so the pericardium is actually the pacemaker that keeps the heart pumping. And the heart itself is underneath it. It's like that grief clogs it, and then all of a sudden it doesn't pump as strongly. It can't open anywhere near as much. So a really easy way to clean this out right here. Lung meridian starts in the thumb, and it goes all the way up the front of the body, right here into the, right below the collarbone on that level right there. And what you can do is pretend like these have smiling mouths on them, and start inhaling a tornado flow of light all the way up through that pathway into your lungs. And on the exhale, start kicking loose and releasing anything that's stuck, anything that's tight, and feel it release right out of the thumbs, almost like it's draining down. There you go. And once you get that flow open, start turning up that laughter, and almost like you're trying to pull that laughter into the lung tissues themselves. Pull it in. There it is. You feel that tension, that lump that starts in the chest? That's that grief energy. When you feel like you're just really about to start crying, that's what clogs up inside of the throat there. Start inhaling into that sensation, inhaling into the lungs, exhaling and releasing. Very good. Very good. Now start inhaling into the very center of the heart space itself, right behind the sternum, in front of the spine. Start lighting this up like the sun, blossoming it open, feeling all of that release, feeling all of that let go. There it is. And you can do the same process with the small intestine. The small intestine starts with the pinky fingers, and these go up through the shoulder, and then it comes up through the face to the right by the eyebrow, and then it comes back to the ear. And if you wanted to, take the pinky fingers and put them on that spot where it ends and start circling that around, flushing it through with laughter. And I find that I hold most of my grief inside of my intestines, sadness. I always find when I start inhaling through this meridian in particular, it always opens up to much brighter levels of joy. And inside of this joy, it's a free energy generator. It's like a star that starts to turn on. And if you feel like you don't have enough love, enough joy, all you have to do is inhale that smile right into the heart space and create it. Make more. And the more of this you make, the more the body gets the understanding. It's like, oh, you want me to do that? Okay, you want me to do that? Okay, you want me to do that? And then, oh, you want me to do this? I got it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. How's that feel there?
Yeah, I feel like that. It almost reminds me your cup has to be full before you can.
Yes, ma'am. And this brings back a very, very strong point when it comes to service to others. It is not service to self to make sure that you are healthy, happy, and whole. That way you can be service to others. So make sure that you take a respite for yourself. Make sure that you get the amount of rest that you need, the amount of nutrition that you need, the exercise that you need, and really make sure that you are a priority, because if you are not in condition to share this energy, you're pouring from an empty cup, and that builds resentment. Don't build resentment, build love. Share it.
Does it matter where the grief comes from? I don't really know why I have so much grief there, or just keep doing the exercise.
So it doesn't really matter where it comes from, but when you do clean it out, you will oftentimes start getting images of where it's coming from, or almost like you're remembering or having a flashback of a specific incident or something like that. That right there, it makes it much more coherent and easier to start cleaning out, but it's perfectly okay if you can't tune into it on that level, because the bottom line is it's grief energy. And the more you clean it out, the more the body recognizes that this has to go. And if you can't tune into what's causing it, you do it enough times, the body's going to kick it out anyway.
So just as you said that, I realized that I was 1 year old when my father's brother died. And so I think I picked up his.
Interesting. So how does that make you feel?
Like I want to clear it out.
So start inhaling it. Do you feel it in your stomach where it's getting tight?
Right now I'm feeling the buzz in my head, like really like almost spinny. I don't know if it's because I'm releasing something.
More likely than not, you're opening up the flow from the carotid in the jugular, so you're getting more blood flow inside of the head, as well as releasing the lymphatics too. So yes, it's a release, but it sounds like a physical one right there. So what I want you to do is go ahead and tune into that smile and inhale into the thought of your uncle dying. Ah, you feel that in the back of the heart space there? It's like a heavy ball of that you just realized you're holding on to, huh? Yeah. Start cleaning it out. It's like really stuck, stagnant metal, like muddy, dirty, yuckiness, and start moving the flow through, blossoming it open and cleaning it out, moving it gradually into the space where you want it to be.
So when you say the space I want it to be, you mean like dissolve?
Full of light and laughter.
And love, okay.
That's the space where you want to be in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Good stuff. All right. Otto, what is the connection between doing this kind of galactic sun connection Earth and building our light body Merkaba? So I actually don't use the Merkaba. My energy is very soft and round, and I have more flowing liquid type energy than anything. It's really hard for me to make actual angles and solid structures like that. And so I can create an angular soft Merkaba, but I feel like I'm always trying to push things into places that they don't belong. I find that when I create suns inside of my body and I radiate outwards, it's a lot more powerful for me. But I also know people who do use the Merkaba and they can do some very powerful work. So I honestly don't have experience with that just because I don't resonate with it. But it doesn't mean that it's not valid. You know, there's some very powerful practitioners who use the Merkaba. I just don't resonate with it. Now, as for this galactic sun connection, I honestly haven't heard anybody talking about this or trying to make these connections before. And what this feels like to me is a complete and total pass-through of the quarantine, that dense quarantine outside of the planet. And instead of that solar energy coming through with those God connections and getting stuck and bounced off, it's almost like we are opening up a connection directly into the Earth with ourselves as the conduit. And instead of having to go through that barrier, that density, it's like we're creating almost like a slipstream. It's like a portal or a conduit that opens up the Earth directly into galactic consciousness and then allows us to move energy through on that level. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background right there. It's a like a mind-body-spirit connection that you're helping the Earth make into galactic consciousness as well. And it expands you out to be able to feel a lot more. I've never felt anything as powerful on the Merkaba levels, but again, I don't use the Merkaba. I hear people who do use it to then go places, but I've never heard of people actually growing in the way that I've tuned into here. So I'm sure that it affects some of the same similar pathways, but by and large, this right here is one of the easiest ways to gain a massive amount of awareness instead of pinpointing right there and then following it all the way through. Like you're blind and you're following a rope. This is like getting the full picture snapshot. Does that make sense? All righty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to go. Huge love and gratitude to everyone. Pam. All righty. Thank you very much for joining us today, Pam. Natasha, yes, I just stinged in my head this week that money does not equal abundance. I just received abundance from my son. He slept for 2.5 hours for me to do this workshop. That is one of the most abundant gifts you could ever have. And as a father, I know exactly what you're talking about right here. My youngest is turning 2 on Christmas Day, and she is an absolute blessing and one of the best teachers of patience I have ever come into contact with in my life. And she blows me away with the level of abundance that she gives to me. You know, those simple where she comes and she jumps in my lap and she sits on my lap and she snuggles in with me and she says, "Daddy," you know, that right there, that is some of the most beautiful abundance that I've ever gotten. And, you know, it's totally on that level. It's all about, it's not money. It's really not money. Money is the excuse to keep us stuck inside of transmutation on the physical level instead of sharing abundance on all levels, mind, body, and spirit. You nailed that one right there. Sarah says she can't do the Merkaba either. Love the sun. You know, and that's just the thing. There's more than one type of person, and what works for some might not work for another. And it doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that you have a different type of metabolism. Like I can eat things you guys can't. You can eat things that I can't. I can do things that you can't with my body, and you can do things that I can't with my body, you know? And it's all about just recognizing that somebody might be allergic to something that you're not allergic to. And it's the same way with the energy. It's all about how it flows correctly, how it flows comfortably. And if the Merkaba works for you, by all means, light it up. All right, would you please restate the connection, lung, heart, stomach, SM, and small and large intestine, emotional trauma? Okay, so the lungs, these hold on to grief. And this is one of the reasons why when you're sad, you'll feel like that tenseness inside of your chest right there, that heaviness. It's literally bringing that dense, heavy energy to the surface in the forefront, and it feels like a heavy weight. The same thing happens with the small intestines. The small intestines are more deeper traumas, though, that I would say the lung is more along the lines of like what you would get trapped into. Say you had a really bad breakup with a significant other or something. The small intestine would be the trauma from, say, somebody attacked you and caused physical damage. You would internalize that on that level, and so it would be much deeper. But at the same time, the heart, this is where joy generation comes from, the same with the large intestine. These are what actually create the resonances that spark the endocrine production to create the hormones that you feel as joy, happiness, excitement, etc. And so when you have too much grief that's around the area, the joy generation starts to suffer. And so it's almost like you've got a cap or a weight and something trying to punch through it. Once you clean out the grief, all of a sudden it can blossom and create more joy, more excitement. And this is where you start tapping into pure dopamine. This is where you start, you know, that bliss, that nirvana that people talk about. You know, that yogi who's talking about he doesn't need drugs, he is drugs. He's not joking. You know, like he is in a completely altered state of mind because he has so much coherence and bioelectricity running through the body that he's snapped into multidimensional function. And what this is an altered state. People call it, you know, like with psychedelics and stuff like that, they use that to then snap into the body-brain coherence so that they're not just stuck inside of the mind. And then they have all these epiphanies and these understandings, and then they can bring them back. Now, it's the same type of a thing that's going on right here. You have different levels of awareness inside of the body, and the deeper you go into them and understand where they all come from, what they do, just by doing cause and effect. I feel this, and when I try to release it, I feel this right here. When I go in and I breathe that into it, all of it disappears. You know, and you do that enough times, you're going to start recognizing these connections like I have. And it's just, you know, plugging and playing. That's literally it. All right. Love the galactic sun exercise too. Yeah, isn't that fun? I really enjoy that one. So I actually go a level higher than that. I will start expanding outside of the galaxy like I was talking about, and I walked you guys through that process earlier. and I'll start expanding outside of the galaxy, and then I'll create a massive bolt of lightning that shoots out into the galactic cores around me, and then I'll grow my perspective bigger and bigger. These things will shrink from these massive things into smaller and smaller perceptions until they're atoms inside of the universal body. Once you get into that space, you can actually find the heart space or the brain or the lower abdomen of the universal body and tune into those direct resonances that come from source on that level. And what's crazy is you can go the opposite way. You can go smaller and smaller into your body until you're down on that molecular level, and it looks the exact same. It's literally the same exact thing. And so once you can go so small into your body that you can become microscopic, you can experience that macroscopic at the same time, because it's literally as above, so below. Otto says, yes, thank you. I've been guided to very similar meditations through the Pleiadians. I understand that bridging these connections to source and earth makes us access our innate multidimensionality. Yep, nailed it. That's exactly what happens. Multidimensionality, let me kind of explain this a little bit. When we look at quantum theory, when we look at string theory, and we see that everything is splitting off, we have a decision, we have path A and we have path B. When we come to that crux point, we don't make point A or path A or point B, we make both of them at the same time. And what ends up happening is we have a version of you that splits off inside of reality. And this is the only way to actually trap pure, untrappable infiniteness, is to give it infinite choices and to trap it inside of time. And so there's a version of you that exists inside of every walk of life that is possible for you to have ever existed inside of. And I mean, this leads all the way down from the decisions that your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents made as well. You know, and so you might have versions of you in every single walk of life in reality around you, and some of them are extremely damaged and extremely traumatized, and they're starting to pull down on the weight of that whole multidimensional field of you. What you guys are tapping into right here is cleaning out yourself. That's the next level, is where you start actually cleaning out the field of you inside of that. And that's what that multidimensionality is. When you start connecting in on this galactic level, it becomes very easy for you to turn your attention on that galactic level down to the earth and see the crowd of you. Literally every version that ever existed, could exist, or does exist right now is existing in one place in one time. And this is why when we look at the atomic structure, we'll see all of our protons, neutrons, and electrons, or actually no, it's just the electrons. They're always zipping in and out of reality. They're disappearing and they're reappearing, because that atom, we're only seeing our perspective of it. That atom is one whole that all of us are inside of. That multidimensionality of the consciousness of you is experiencing that one atomic state. We're just seeing it from one direction that we exist inside of. And as you step into this galactic conduit, as you step into this galactic consciousness, you can start recognizing the field of you. Once you can do that, you can start pulling yourself back into oneness. Everybody's talking about that oneness. This is that real, true oneness. This is coming back and stepping through the dark forces window of time and rewriting histories, collapsing timelines, and pulling out all the energy that's feeding those timelines and putting it back here into our conscious exploration and what we want to create. And that's what multidimensionality is in a nutshell. It's really kind of hard to get your mind around to begin with, but once you do it, once you understand you are not the only version of you, and you can actually do energy work on those other versions, that's where you start doing energy work on yourself from the universe, from the multiverse. And so what I do now, if I find that something's too big or too strong for me, and I'm growing and I'm finding that it's still growing with me and it's not shrinking, I'll call in 10 million different versions of myself from multiple realities that exist in the same type of a timeline I'm in right now, because we exist coherently, synchronously, instead of, you know, all these different crazy offshoots that are going on. And so I'll call in millions of versions of myself, and we'll all surround things and just, you know, one hand, very easy. I'm just putting energy into this one hand, but it's compounded times 10 million. And we'll surround things, we'll place it into the center, and then it'll be really easy to clean it out on that level. So, you know, this is just that process right here. There's a lot more that I have to understand around this. There's more levels after this that I haven't been able to access yet, but this is that lockstep right there. Once you can clean out your field of the individual you inside of your universe, there's countless universes to go clean out and explore. So it's really kind of a fun play. All right, CJ. I didn't understand the Merkaba until I was meditating outside during a thunderstorm and got a large download from Metatron that helped me break down the Merkaba and its shapes in the rotating, counter-rotating fields. See, again, you know, people who understand this, it is a very powerful tool for them if they know how to use it. I don't feel resonant with it at all. I can't make myself put into those strong angles and bridges simply for the fact that my energy flows like a garden hose. If I put a kink in the garden hose, my energy's not flowing all the way through cleanly. And so I feel the same exact way with those types of things. And it's the same with like sigil magic. I've never been drawn to sigil magic. I've never been drawn to creating angles or sacred geometry to put intention into, simply for the fact that it kinks my energy flow. I find that when I put a sun inside of something, it shines out in all 360 degrees, and it's incredibly powerful. I know you can do that with the Merkaba as well. I just don't know how, because I don't like it. The healed endocrine system is a bliss-generating symphony, a multidimensional symphony. Yes, that is one of the biggest keys, that the physical coherence of the body, when you snap in that body-brain coherence, it starts to align all the glands in the body in with each other. They have their own little bubble of resonance that it starts to create a flow, and it goes up and it goes down. And this is that Kundalini flow people talk about. This is that cerebral spinal fluid flow that most people don't even know exists. This is that connection from the spine all the way up down through the vagal nerve. You know, these are all these different connections, the flow up and down, the blood flow that goes up into the brain, then releases to come down. It's all connected into this right here. And as we start to open this up and release this, it starts to open up on different levels that we didn't know were there. And we can start exploring those sensations, those awarenesses, those abilities to turn up the volume dial, to remove the blockage, to see what it is. And then we have that next level of understanding. And so it's all about just practicing. You know, what we're doing today, yes, it feels great, but what happens if you do this every day for like 6 or 7 months, you know? Like, you won't be the same person. You'll be completely and totally luminous. You'll notice that your facial structure starts to change. You'll notice that your eyes become much, much brighter. You'll notice that your body stops fighting you, you know? Instead of having a temple that is constantly, you know, throwing clutter in your way, it's completely open, it's clean, and it's joyful, it's resonant, and there's no noise, there's no clutter that's stuck inside of it. And it's all about just practicing. It's all about just taking that level of coherence and awareness and just a little bit more every single day. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then the next thing you know, you're at this level where I'm at, you know, and people, it's really easy to get to this level because, again, I started this all off by doing yoga and concentrating really hard inside of the body. These techniques that you guys are understanding, it puts you heads and shoulders over where I started off at by magnitudes of like thousands. And this means that instead of, you know, like a 3 or 4 year process like it took me to get to this place, it could be months, if not weeks, you know. And it's all about the level of dedication and perseverance that you start to cultivate, because it's not about waiting until you're motivated to do this. It's about cultivating willpower, because this is my body and I will do this. Awesome. All right. So that definitely went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but we are at the gratitude level right here now. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to start inhaling into the body and create this light. And what I want you to do is recognize we've got a group of, well, it looks like there's 26 of us now. So what I want you guys to do is start to inhale into your light and reach your hands out to the sides, almost like you're grabbing a hold of a hand right next to you. And start feeling how all of us are standing in this circle. And it's not just our light that we're lighting up, the space in between us, around us, everywhere. Inhale into this and turn that laughter up. Feel the energy pushing in through your hands from the field of people around you. Feel how you're feedback looping and magnifying it, making it stronger and pushing it back out. Now, right in the center, right in between all of us, put your focus there. Begin inhaling into it as we connect into the earth energy. And I want you to see the planet like we're looking at it from outer space, right in between all of us. You can make it the size of a soccer ball. You can make it go right out to the edge of the circle. Doesn't matter. Just connect in. And really study the beauty of this jewel floating in the void. See the weather patterns. See the sun glinting off of the ocean. Ever so gently release the hands next to you and point your hands at the planet. Deep breath into the hands. Exhaling laughter, light, and movement, and we're going to surround and bathe the planet. Almost like a lover's caress, gentle, soft. Deep breaths in. Push, feeling everybody around you creating just as much light, just as much laughter. And feel how this laughter and light is gently softening the outer atmosphere. This is that dense veil. This is that trauma echoing from humanity that's keeping everything from connecting in on the galactic level. And start to dissolve, feeling the earth beginning to blossom open in that toroidal field, blooming like a flower, softening these outer layers. Going deeper and deeper until you feel the clouds beginning to echo with laughter. Oh, wow, I can feel this out here around me right now. You guys are so fun. Keep pushing, lighting everything up, feeling the dark side of the planet becoming incredibly luminous, like the sun is shining from every direction. Feel that starting to sink deeper down, starting to touch the tops of the tallest mountains. Feeling it beginning to echo and resonate through the core of this stone, deep into the earth, beginning to follow it down, flushing all the way down the mountain, through the valleys, all the way out into the ocean. Starting to press down further, more intensely, making it laugh even louder, making this joy explode with light. And start to feel the outer crust of the planet. Feel all that hollowness, all that hotness that's inside of the core that the crust is floating on. Feel how it echoes like the chambers of a heart, opening, pushing energy through. Feel the lifeblood of the earth. And what we're going to do is a twofold process. We're going to inhale right into the core of the earth, light it up like the sun. And at the same time, we're going to feel all of the people, all of the consciousness starting to light up as well. Like we're shining a sun from the center of the earth that's flushing out everybody's feet through their heads and out into the sun. And in this space, feel these solstice energies. That spring, that stopping and slowing down to that point of beginning to move back. This top of the quantum pause. In this space, in this solar return, start putting what you want to see as the planet makes its journey around the other direction. Start seeing communities full of love and laughter exploding everywhere on the surface of the planet. Start seeing children elevated in respect, to stand next to their elders, to teach all of us dense adults what we need to do. Feel knowledge of God shockwaving throughout the surface population, like a ripple that starts in a few places and echoes through, and these ripples collide on each other, creating so much movement, so much resonance. And watch everybody's eyes begin to open, to look up, See the world dancing free of financial tyranny. See the world opening up to the abundance of the universe, bypassing all of those dark magic sigils all over the money, everywhere, to explode abundance through the hearts of mankind. Tune into the divine feminine wounding, the trapping of the sexuality, the domination and the control that has been placed upon the feminine. Follow the wounding back into the sacred masculine, feeling what can turn a protecting peacekeeper into a rapist murderer. The ultimate trauma, the ultimate wounding. And begin inhaling into both of these, seeing both sides of the damage, the victim, the perpetrator, the predator, the prey. Now watch these cycles start to break. Watch these movements that have been going for generations suddenly grind to a halt with indecision. Feel love beginning to step forth. As the divine feminine begins to embody love. As the sacred masculine begins to embody love. Tune into this timeline and lock it in. Make this permanent. Very good. Gently let go. And feel yourself sinking back into the body. All right. And now that we have sent the intention for this next solar return all the way through these 6 months into that summer solstice, let's tap into what we're grateful for. Let's tap into what we want to see, what we're excited about, what we're successful with, what we can do, what we can achieve. And I'll start here. I am so grateful to be able to live this life that I do, to be able to show people around the world how to tap into these energies, to these levels, to start releasing pain, to start releasing programs inside of themselves. It is one of my biggest successes I've ever felt that I've ever been able to achieve. And I am so honored to be able to step up into this place. What I want to see in the world is for this damage to start releasing, for everybody to start understanding where it's coming from instead of just feeling it and responding in reaction. And that's what I want to see in the world. And I am so grateful for the opportunity to be here, to see this happening. Yeah. Who's next? Teresa.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to being a joy generator and to spreading that joy through all the people around me, near me, and reaching far all the way out into the galaxy and releasing grief, not just from me, but from everyone who's ever felt it. And bringing just that joy and lightness as you're speaking of. I'm very inspired by what you're doing, and I want to continue and vouch for that.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Oh, that was great. Who's next?
Hi, Douglas here.
Hi, Douglas.
Hey, I'm full of gratitude and excited to be able to heal myself and then show others how to heal them and do my work in the world.
Beautiful. You were just, it was really interesting to watch you. So like all these things that I'm walking you guys through, I've kind of got like the crowd in front of me and I'm watching everybody releasing heaviness and start to activate light. You were very interesting. There was a specific flavor of energy around you that is not typically human. It more is along the lines of either the Pleiadian light races or the what are they called? The Arcturians. It's a very blue, almost pearlish white type of an energy that I saw you sparking from the back of your heart space right there. And that specifically, this means that there is a really beautiful, wonderful gift that you have encoded inside of your energy body that you haven't been able to achieve the resonance to where you can feel it yet. But there is something that is really beautiful starting to wake up right now. And you can feel how your body is literally healing itself because of this, can't you?
Yes, I can.
That's beautiful. It was really beautiful to watch you going. All of you guys did phenomenal. Like, I mean, I don't want to point anybody out and say they did better than anybody, because like you guys all did your best ability, and everybody, it was just so, so beautiful to watch this happen. And do you feel what is happening? This isn't just energy inside of you right now. The planet shifted, didn't it?
Yes.
See, that's how powerful you guys are. All right, who's up?
I'll share.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Eric. Oh, I just want to see this blossom. You know, I just want to see more and more people releasing and healing. And I want to live on the land, maybe with you and the kids. And I want to sing and spread joy through song and music and have it proliferate through the whole planet until the veils of fear lift. And yeah, I just want to, I'm just going to bring lots of people to you so we can buy this land.
So you are one of the people that I call the sound keepers. You are one of the people that you embody what you want to feel and what you do feel with your voice. And so this right here is something that I am so grateful for your gifts. I really, truly am, because I am not one of these people. And there has to be, just like, you know, in the past when we had the village they would supply the food, the shelter for the healer. Yeah. You know, this is what we need to start doing with specific people like this. You know, people like yourself. You're not supposed to be here, you know, doing a 9-to-5 grind. You're supposed to be here sharing your joy through your voice and showing how to show how other people can do that as well. And so it's really just funny to see what you're doing and what you're struggling with right now, because as soon as you make through on that breakthrough, it's like you're going to elevate yourself into a space to where people recognize this, and so they carry you with them, you know. And that's what this is all about right here, because everybody has a different function. Some people are more than happy to do like the heavy work. You know, I love grabbing a shovel and going and digging and doing something physical, you know, like that's what really gets me into a meditative state to where I can start doing a lot of really interesting stuff. You are one of those people. You're a singer, you're a dancer, you're a dreamer. And that right there, it's what is so beautiful about the whole tapestry of humanity. There is so much to offer. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to smash all of these square pegs in through round holes, and it's just not working. And that's what you're tapping into right now. That's what all of you are starting to release and recognize. These programs built up these rigid structures. And as soon as we start releasing them, we don't have to be inside of them anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Who's next?
Hi.
Hi, Denise.
Hi. I just want to let you know that I'm like overwhelmed with gratitude and with thankfulness that that there's something that you can do as small as you may feel. You're really not. And this expansion of feeling that I'm able to experience is so joyful and so loving, and there's no limit to what you can think of and create and expand into, and that just keeping doing it will have such great benefit. So, and definitely want to continue doing more.
So there's something I have to really say real fast, real quick here. There is no limit to not just your creativity, but the amount that you can feel. As good as you feel right now, you can stack on top of this. You can bring this to a point to where it explodes into pure nirvana, pure bliss. This is what all those yogis are talking about, that connection to God. This is something that's real that we can all embody right here, right now. And that's what you're feeling, because you stack it, you keep on going. And this is literally the first step, and it never ends. You can always go to another level. And that's what's so beautiful about
I know.
it. You know, I am so grateful.
So beautiful. And thank you so much. And I definitely would like to participate more and learn more and keep the continuity going. And so grateful that I'm able not to just help myself, but help because we're all part of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just all spreads out. So this is a wonderful group. Thank you.
Thank you. This was really, it was beautiful. Like I knew this was going to be fun. I had no idea that you guys were going to create such a magical space. That's like the only way to put it. It truly is. It's magical. Thank you so much.
Absolutely magical. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Now, I believe that Lori had her mic off. Were you going to say something, Lori?
I was.
Mm-hmm.
I love the meditations. They brought me to a place that I don't remember being since childhood. There was the sun meditations and your explanation about the Merkaba and all of these things that just like answered a lot of questions for me, and I'm just very grateful to be here, and I really appreciate it.
You are just awesome. I absolutely love what you are doing here. And so another one of the things that I was talking about with Douglas, you have a very specific light that is not, quote, human. There is a very multidimensional connection with you, and it feels like a very powerful goddess collective. It's like a pure embodiment of the divine feminine energies, that loving, mothering, nurturing creation energy that it's like the rose with the sun shining on it. You know, the sun, it's just as integral as that rose is, but without the sun, you wouldn't have that creation right there to appreciate. You know, you wouldn't have the light to shine off of it right there. And that's what I see. It's like a rose that's blossoming open in your energy field. And it's like an appreciation of all of the energies of Christ consciousness that is shining towards you. And it's beautiful. It's like you're budding open right now. And it's really interesting to watch. You specifically looked like when you started to open this, it was like you were sitting inside of like a bud, and then it opened up, and like you have this beautiful lotus flower blossoming around you right now. And it's really just gorgeous to look at. You are so very welcome. All righty. I've got CJ here. He said, I'm looking forward to shining my creative gifts onto humanity by working on my book and musical talents, to build a truly abundant planet for us all, and to open our world up to the galactic communities who are so eager to connect with us, bringing in that divine dragon energy to help everyone realize that we truly are magicians. CJ, I am so grateful for you. Everything that you do is an inspiration. It really, truly is. You have been dealt a rougher hand than most, and you have, from this rough hand, created one of the most amazing energies I've ever experienced. And it is truly beautiful to watch what you are doing. And I am just honored and tickled pink that you look forward to stuff that I'm doing. That way you can evolve your own path right there. And I can't wait for your book, man. I can't wait for it. Like, I'm so excited for that, man. I really am. All righty. We've got C. Hilda. She says,
Oh, C. Hilda. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, Don. So C. Hilda says, thank you, Eric, for this wonderful solstice experience, the most intense I ever had. Looking forward to what else is possible. You are so very welcome, Siggy. You in particular, I am so impressed with what you were doing. You were hands down the oldest member of the retreat, and I was kind of worried about, you know, pushing you through all these different levels. You went through with flying colors like I never even expected. And you are literally doing work inside of your body right now that is making you younger, and it's reversing the aging process. And it is so inspiring to watch what you are actually doing, because you came into this completely and totally blocked up. Our first session, I remember you couldn't feel anything. And as you started to get into this, it's at the point right now where you step into galactic consciousness with a thought. And it's just so inspiring. It's so heartening to watch what you're doing, to recognize that, you know, age is no limit. You are literally reversing all of that. And, you know, the thing is, if we can all, you know, do back handsprings and backflips at 500 years old, what is age? So, good stuff. All right, Dawn, you were saying something?
You know, I think this for me is a recognition, and I want to call it out because I see it. I wanted this for a long time. I've been waiting for it. And so I wanted to call it out because I suspect that a lot of people recognize it, but it may or may not be conscious. So this is what I want to say. I've belonged to a lot of groups since I had a huge mass awakening over 30 something years ago and started working with my body and have done many things because it's lonely. You know, it's lonely being an awake, wide aware, magical person without a group. And the groups that I have gone in, they have all become, they've all run into their own traumas. They've run into, the dark has attacked the groups. The dark has infiltrated the groups, and the people were not able to do enough deep work so that they were enough healed that the groups remained viable. And so they started out being one thing, and they ended up being conduits directly into the dark. And this has happened over and over, that I've seen this for over 30 years. But in occasional groups, when I've worked with people that do their work and focus on cleaning themselves and aren't aggrandized. So for example, Eric, you leading the group, your energy is critically important because we all follow you. Not follow as in we can't do it on your own. It's more like, you know, if a herd is going through the forest, they'll have an animal that goes first. And they're not better than the other animals. It's just the one that they all chose to go first. So we all follow you down your path, and you're not aggrandized. You're not doing this to make yourself a powerful, important alpha male. And so you're very clean. And on the occasions that I've been in groups like this, we literally have been able to do things that are so miraculous that they're impossible, literally. And I mean physically in the 3D world, things that are so miraculous have happened. And unless you were in our group and saw the whole thing, if you were in the rest of the population, you didn't actually see it because the change was so complete and so phenomenal. There was no one in the population that could ever remember that it was ever any different. But the people that were in the center creating the change, we knew what we had done and what had happened. And often life would just throw us witnesses that would say, oh my God, you know, Jesus, I can't believe it. I was so terrified. You know, cars were going up and down 10 feet in the air, up and down. And I thought, oh my God, everything's breaking apart. The planet's dissolving. But, you know, for those of us in the center, we was nice to have a witness that was conscious. But we didn't feel any of that. It was just calm. And when we were done, you know, it was just regular. So I've had a lot of those kind of experiences. And I want to tell you that it's probably been about 10 or so years since I've really had a group. And actually, in the people that are listening here is a wonderful person that I met with a few years ago. And we had an amazing experience that lasted about 5 days. And we came under attack by the dark big time, but we made it through and made changes that are still resonating with our populations today. But I have been looking for a clean group that I can be a part of. Mostly if I find a group and I bring all of myself, which everybody here is very big. Everybody here that's expressed themselves is not staying small. Everybody has been willing to step into who you really are. That's incredible, because when I come into groups and I step into who I really am, people, they go into competition or, you know, whatever. And basically, and since I'm a sensitive, and everyone here is, I'm not saying I'm more than any of you guys, but we all are that way. I know when I can't bring my whole self and it won't be accepted. And so you know, sadly, I leave the groups because I can't play there. There's no one to play with. But this group, Eric, if you can put people like this together on a monthly basis, we can honestly and truly change this reality permanently.
Yes,
and there is not any Satanist or anything that has been mentioned here that can stand up against us, because
not a single thing.
A group like this, with this level of consciousness, that does clearing first before they work on the planet, is so effing powerful. There's nothing that can stand up against us. And we have a right to this power more than any of the other ET groups and all the different groups that are discussed, because we were willing to come in here, walk into this dysfunctional pattern, get beat to hell so that we could learn about it and still somehow manage to remember who we were and hold on to our power and be willing to meet like this and be big, not little. So I'm grateful that I have found this group, and I am saying this out loud because I want everyone here to be so conscious of what it is we have as a possibility in front of all of us.
Oh, chills from head to toe. Thank you so much, Dawn. That was absolutely beautiful. You nailed that up one side and down the other. I am not a master. I am not a guru. I am just somebody who has walked along a path that I can show you where it's at, and it doesn't make me better because I've walked on it further. It just makes me more well-traveled. That's it. And you guys are so much more powerful than I could ever be, simply for the fact that I am consciously doing this. You guys are unconsciously making me exist in your reality. You brought me into reality. You brought me here. You made me. And this is what is so amazing about this. It's almost like I was feeling the pulls from the future saying this needed to be created. There was something here that has to be done. And then I went and I searched the whole entire world and I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh my God, I have to make this. And so what you're tuning into right here is what I saw when all of this started. When I first dropped that big collective ripple and I saw everything start moving and splashing, I started seeing people uncovering from the darkness and starting to tune into that light. And what you just said, it was all individual. It was by yourselves, maybe one or two people that you were working with, but it was never a large coherent group. And so what it looked like is we had all these bright lights that were starting to pop up in the sea of darkness, and then they just get overtaken. And then they just get smushed down. What we're doing here is we're activating ourselves to the highest levels we can possibly attain as our bodies are right now. And then we're using that energy to go out as a group and clean the world out. And you're nailing this up one side and down the other. This is what is one of the most important things you can ever do on this planet. It's not just that galactic connection, it's to clean out your crap, because your crap's connected into all the other crap. And as you start cleaning that out, as you start recognizing those pathways inside yourself and releasing them, it opens up the doorway for everything to let go. As above, so below. And it's the same exact process. We might have to shift the techniques a little bit so that it applies to where we're putting it to, but it's the same thing. We build up the resonance until it turns off whatever we don't want. That's it. Literally it. And that was just that was beautiful. I'm gonna have to record that. Thank you so much, Dawn. I'm gonna have to clip that one out there. We're gonna have to play that some other time. All right, good stuff. So CJ says, oh, much love, Lori. You just made me tear up. Beautiful. Matthew, thank you, Eric, and thank you, everyone. Happy Solstice Timeline Creation today. Yes, sir. Can we all get everyone's emails or websites? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as soon as we're done here, this is going to get downloaded onto my hard drive, and then I'm going to upload it to YouTube. It's going to be an unlisted video, meaning that you can't go to my channel and find it. You have to have the direct email, and then I'll send out an email blast to everybody once that's all uploaded. Then I'll put in my email in the description, and then we can talk to each other underneath that. That way we don't have to, because this chat box right here, unless you put down an email and write it down immediately, it's going to be gone as soon as this video is uploaded. So, but yeah, we could definitely do that. You're going to make me cry. Thanks so much, Eric. Well, it's a good thing, CJ. It's not less manly to cry. Get it out, buddy. Siggy, Azra, Matthew, so wonderful. See you all. I'm lurking. That's from Shammy. Hi, Shammy. Shammy, much love. That's from Azra. Robin Sellers says, thank you so much, Eric. This has been an amazing experience for me, and I would love to do this at least once a month. And I also agree, CJ's an absolutely beautiful soul. I'm so blessed to be his mom. Oh, you're CJ's mom? Isn't he, though? He is really just one of the most amazing people I've ever met. You should be honored to be the one to push him out of your uterus there. All right, Debbie Smart says, love you all so deeply. Thank you so much for the safer space to release and create with so much pure love and joy. Until next time, have to go do some more energy work with my granddaughter and our land for everyone today. Happy solstice and beautiful moments of life to you all. Thank you so much, Debbie. Even if you guys don't want to get onto the camera and talk, just this communication right here, it opens up that doorway. It brings people's attention to you. It lets them know oh, this is somebody that was interacting with us too. And that way we can all, because we're all connected with this, we're all open in these energies right here, we can recognize who's there with us. And that way when we can bring direct communication to it, it's almost like a reunion of family when we start talking physically. It's really a lot of fun when that happens. CJ says, I love you, Mom. Glad you greatly enjoyed this. Beautifully stated, Don. Thank you so much. It wasn't it? That was beautiful, Don. It was really, I had goosebumps from head to toe right there. Love you so dearly, Don. That's from Debbie. So Sarah says, in September, I saw a team of beings were going to come together to work on ourselves and the earth and cosmos. Now it's coming true. Oh yeah, there's way more light beings around the planet than ever before right now. Specifically, that Paradise Fire, that was an attack of really epic proportions. And this wasn't something that magically happened from, you know, all the dead brush that wasn't being burned off. This was a physical attack that happened, and it went too far. This was a mass destruction event that was similar to a nuclear explosion. And the last time we had nuclear war, the ETs came in and shut it down. And what's happening right now is that they were trying to wait until we had enough light and enough resonance on the surface of the planet to start actually going into those pockets of humanity and start cleaning out the reasons for people wanting to do stuff like that. We weren't able to do it fast enough. It's a lot of work. And so what they're actively doing now is they're pressing into that density, and they've got a whole entire layer around the entire planet, you know, pinpoints that are connected to each other. And they are creating a vast resonance grid that is siphoning off this density directly into the sun. And so what's happening is as this is starting to close down, this density level is getting softer and softer, but it's still really dense on the surface layers near the surface, but up towards the top is getting more and more open. We will start seeing this punching through. We will start seeing some really interesting stuff in the sky, like crazy colors that are existing inside of phenomena that it just doesn't make sense. So, you know, stuff like that is going to start happening. But yeah, like this is the thing. We are making that connection until it's the light and the earth can reach the light on the outside, and then it full conduit connection. So we're feeling those first initial connections going right now. Like everything's really moving quickly. April says, thank you, Don. It happens with family, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Denise says, a galactic cleaning crew. Yes, a galactic genetic cleaning crew. There we go. Thank you, Eric. It's been so amazing. That's from River. All right, so I hear somebody echoing in the background. Did somebody want to say something?
I think it might have been me. I just wanted to express my gratitude for everyone coming here today to share and to connect, and also just experiencing and seeing everyone just stepping up to their mantle of responsibility to become their own leader, like leading from within. I'm so grateful for that. So thank you all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for putting it in those terms. I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. Leading from the light from within. That is a beautiful way to put this, because that light, the more you turn this on, the more of that joy you're connected into. It's literally like a compass. And as you dissolve that density and that framework that's keeping you stuck, it's almost like you can start aligning to your true north. It's like you can all of a sudden start feeling what is passionate and what draws you towards it. And then you can lead with that light and follow behind it. And it puts you in some of the most amazing situations you'll ever experience. Like my life is pure magic. Like the people I have been able to experience in my life, the people and connections I've been able to understand and actually go out and meet as I do this type of work right here, until you start doing this, you'll never understand it. There is so much magic inside of humanity, so much potential that it's underneath the surface, but we're all under the illusions that everybody else doesn't know how to do it. And so we can't bring it to the forefront for ourselves. And as we start to really embody this light and let it shine out, it dissolves these programs. And then all of a sudden, everything everybody else thinks about you doesn't matter. You're going to embody your light no matter what. And they might think some crazy things for a little bit, but the truth will always out. When you embody this light, this love, this laughter, and this movement inside of yourself, you can't exist inside of that warframe type of a blockage as before. It's where, you know, somebody directs hostility at you, and so you got to direct it right back. All of a sudden that dissolves, and as you feel that hostility being directed at you, you recognize the wound inside of the person that's making them lash out like that. And from that perspective, you can't be angry at that person. From that perspective, you want to help that person. And people feel that. People recognize that, and there's only so long you can attack somebody before that concern for you starts to wear through, and suddenly you're listening to that person that before you were very angry at. And it's beautiful. Thank you for putting it in that perspective right there, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're creating a magnetic resonance that leads us to our passion.
I want to say a few words.
Hi, Azra.
Hello. Just want to thank all for being here and showing up tonight, and to witness like what we can do and how powerful we are. And I just can't wait for another session. to learn more, to anchor more light and just radiate it on this planet and beyond, all over.
Thank
So
you.
grateful.
I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for that motivation, that want, that need, because it's the same one I've got. You know,
I have no idea.
when you start feeling this and you recognize the potential inside of humanity, and when you recognize the potential of what you can do, and especially when you come together in a group like this and you do these types of things, you can literally see physical miracles. You can literally see things that happen like Dawn was talking about. And the stronger the resonance in the group becomes, the more we actually shift out into the world around us. And that gratitude, that gratefulness, that excitement to go out and share, to shine, that right there, that is something that will build on itself until it explodes forth and the world has no choice but to change.
Yes. Yes. So beautiful. Thank you.
You are very welcome. All right. So we've got Desi says, hello from London. Hello from America. Thank you so much for opening wonderful new doors of possibilities and light. It has been amazing. You are so very welcome. I am so grateful for you showing up like you did. All of you, every single last one of you. This is stuff that it's not easy. It's really not. You have to concentrate. It's hard to move these focuses and energies inside of the body, especially without practice. Once you step into it, though, and you realize that you can push, and as long as I'm conscious and I can breathe, I can still keep going. And you really start stepping into that place and you just clean and clean and clean, that's where that activation starts to happen. That's where that joy generation starts to really step into resonance. And this is where you physically start to heal the body. And I don't know if you guys are all paying attention, but you actually all look younger. So, you know, that's the thing right there too. Like, we're literally creating the cocktails of the fountain of youth. It's not something outside, it's right here. So thank you so much, Desi. Otto says, I'm grateful for being in this healthy body, being on this awakening path and having the opportunities for these beautiful soul reunions. Ah, yes, soul reunions. Hi, everybody. And this work, feeling so held and supported. What I want to call in is for more of our starseed brothers and sisters that are still in confusion to awaken and remember, so that we can quicker and more gracefully move into the one family on earth and beyond. Blessings to you all, and thank you, Eric, for showing up and sharing your passion and love. Love, love, love. So you nailed it. This is exactly what's happening. Starseeds, people who came in connected to the outside resonances of God, and then we come into this disconnected planet and feel how off it is. Again, these little collectives inside of the big collective. There are millions of people that think, feel, talk, and act the same exact way that you do because they're on that same resonance pathway of personality. You are inside of that mini collective, and you just cleaned out all those things that you were trying to clean out. And what this is doing is it's opening up the flow. It's like you're a pressure release valve inside of this collective, and it just popped the hole right there. That was you. Everything's starting to destabilize on that tension and heaviness, and it's starting to push out. These people might not understand this on the mental level, but they can feel a release. As they feel a release, they're recognizing, hey, I don't have to feel this way all the time. You feel that? That feels a little bit better. Maybe I need to start looking into this. Maybe I need to start going a bit deeper and exploring this. Is there anything I can do? Is there something that I can start looking into? There's got to be some therapy. There's got to be something I can do for myself. And that's what starts the pathway. So, you know, what you just did right here, that's exactly what you are calling in. It's almost like we're ringing a bell, and people have never heard sound before. And so they don't understand it, but they hear it, they feel it. And inside of this bell, inside of this resonance, are the codes of the frequencies that they want to experience. And so it's like they can hear in the distance a ringing of what they want to feel. And so now, instead of just being inside of this stuckness, inside of this framework and this rigidity, they can start breaking free from it and saying, hey, I want to go over towards that. And that's exactly what you guys feel when you hear me speak, when you hear me talk about all of these things. That's the whole reason that you're here, that drawing, that wanting more. And that's exactly what we're sparking inside of the entire planet. And we had a very decent sized group today with so many different types of metabolisms and personalities. This was really, really a beautiful step. It really, truly was. I'm really excited to keep doing this with you guys. All righty. Now, does anybody have anything else that they wanted to come on and say, type, anything on that level? Oh,
Hi, Eric.
Hi, how are you doing, River?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Just wanted to say I did this for you guys. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. Ah, see, and that right there, you don't have to just speak gratitude. You can literally get inspired to create gratitude. And that right there, that was really a beautiful piece right there. I don't know if you guys were noticing, but could you hold that up again, River? Close your eyes and tune into that. It's like the sun shining at you, isn't it? Thank you so much, River. Oh, that's beautiful. It's literally a piece of energy work that you just drew right there. And
It
you know,
goes
stuff
straight
like
to the
that.
heart.
Yeah,
So,
and stuff like that, you can actually create those. You can draw those and you can put them around your house. You know, honestly, you could actually sell those if you wanted to. You know, people can feel energy when they tune into it. And if you are talking about, I was creating this with this specific resonance in mind, when you draw it, it will create more of that resonance. And the stronger you feel it, the more intense it'll actually get. And, you know, people are really kind of excited to pick stuff up like that. So that might be a little bit of a monetary opportunity for you. Sophie says, thank you, Eric, for facilitating this co-creation. Can't wait to connect again with everybody. Oh, definitely. You are very welcome, Sophie. Thank you for showing up. You know, all of you, thank you for showing up. It's not just me, it's you guys too. And Azra says, thank you, River. It was beautiful. Yeah, definitely. Like, that was actually really special, River. The amount of gratitude that you felt, the joy that you felt, that is something that you can literally harness and put into your work. You know, Sarah, people who sing, they can do this with their voices. They can inhale that feeling of gratitude into their abdomen, their solar plexus, the chest, and the throat, and then sing those pure notes of that energy. You know, artists, you can feel that and you can go into it and draw what you feel. And it literally is a snapshot of that energy that it generates itself. It's like an astral tool that you have created inside of the gift. So definitely keep playing around with that. That was way, way stronger than I was expecting it to be. When you shown that at me, I was almost like, ah! So that was really, really powerful stuff right there. Good stuff. Anybody else?
Hey, Eric.
Hi, April.
Hi. I just wanted to say, unlike a lot of the people here today, I've been just doing a lot of cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm going through a lot of things spiritually that I need to learn. But this has been very helpful for me in that I'm seeing that, you know, you can have family around no matter what it is that you're going through, even though you're trying your best to stay light filled, and that
Yes.
you get that support. And, you know, the tuning in that I was able to do really lifted me up into a place where I felt love and inspiration and support. And it was just really nice. And it does feel like this is a family and that we're all out there trying to help each other and support each other, and not just this group, but, you know, supporting the planet and the galaxies and every place else that anyone can think of. And I wanted to say that because there might be some times when there might be other people that might come and they might be going through something where they're really trying to tune in, but they're just cleansing really hard. But the fact that they're here and the support and in the light and the love and the sun, it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, Eric. This is really great. And
You are so very
welcome. I really look forward to next year and to see, you know, all the wonderful things that can happen with the group and with you, and even to watch myself grow. I wish I could go with you guys on that cruise, but that's not this time.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe in the future or something like that. So anyway, love and light to everyone. And thank you again, Eric. God bless you. Really.
Thank you so much,
Just
April.
been a godsend.
Thank you so much. And here's the other thing about what you're talking about right there is you didn't have much of a chance to like connect in and truly focus like the rest of the group did, because you just had stuff going on. You had to do things. And so this is actually one of the reasons why I decided to create the recording. That way you guys can get the recording of this as well. And you can go back through it if you need to later at a later date. But one of the things I want you guys to recognize is this energy that we created here is permanent. When you do these meditations later on, you can actually connect directly into this group energy again anyway. And it's not something that is stuck or just this one time. It's literally timeless. Time does not exist. And so if you want to connect in with the group, all you have to do is just watch the video.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, thanks, and lots of love to your family too.
You as well. Thank you so much, April. Now, you're welcome. Now, one of the things that April was talking about, she was clearing, and she wasn't able to focus as much into all of this. It's simply because we created a very high vibratory environment, and she was connected into it, but not as consciously as she wanted to be. That doesn't matter. She was still connected into it. And so what we were doing was creating such a high vibratory field that as she was inside of it, she couldn't help but purge. She couldn't help but release. And this is exactly what we're doing to the planet. It's like we're creating such a bright ball of liquid light that it lifts up, and anything that's heavy, it's not moving, it's stuck, it stays there, and it starts to really pull down, and it becomes more and more obvious until it clicks loose and we start going up. That's what we're here for. All righty. Anybody else? Beautiful. So I have to say, I knew this was going to be fun. I had no idea that it was going to turn into something as amazing as this. Sierra is actually the one who put this whole template together. She had a direct download of exactly how this was supposed to go. And so I've been following her template for the whole entire thing. And I knew that it was going to be fun, but you guys blew my mind with the level of work that you were able to achieve and what you actively stepped up and started cleansing. It was hands down one of the most beautiful things I've seen in a long time. And I've seen some really, really cool stuff. So, you know, just really pat yourselves on the back, really give yourselves the kudos, the thumbs up to step up as you guys did, to show up as you guys did, and to really embody this Christ consciousness energy, this ability to be the light instead of having the programs tell us what to do. And as we embody this light more and more, it creates a field of resonance that people can't help but to feel. And it's a love virus, you know, it infects it. You can't help it. It spreads from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. And the more we push this out into the reality, the faster our planet will change. And the more we actively go in and do physical work on this level as well, that's when we really start seeing transformation. So that's what I'm leading up towards. And I hope you guys are all leading up towards that with me, because it's going to take a lot of energy, not just, you know, the monetary side right there, but the whole entire energy of pushing back against a system that has been so cemented in for tens of thousands of years to create something new inside of it that breaks the system. It's going to take a lot of energy in the beginning, just like when we were focusing on the tension, knowing it's there, but we were bringing the light into places where it wasn't. So that way we can bring that into the places where it's stuck and it has no choice but to clean itself out. It's what we're going to do. We're going to create a land where star seeds come, where we embody, where we activate, and then we go out into the world so strong that you can't stop it. That's why we're here. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's truly an amazing pathway, and I'm absolutely 100% grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. All righty. And with that being said, I think we are done here. All righty. So with that being said, this is the first solstice recalibration that was ever done. We're definitely going to be doing these every 6 months. But I think what we're going to do is evolve a class or a monthly get together out of this, and we're definitely going to keep moving forward on that level. The more people we get in on this, the stronger it's going to get. So I might even actually lower the prices even more. This might be like an $11 thing, like the Q&A that I'm going to be doing in a couple of days. And that way we can get as many people as possible into this as well. So thank you so much for joining us all today. I am just absolutely tickled pink that everybody stepped up on the way that we did. And I can't wait to see you all next time. Bye-bye.